Hello, Internet. Welcome back to the Fast Travel Lounge. You're listening to episode 121. My name is Patrick. I'm joined by Saif. Say hi.
Yeah, hello.
And Steve. Say hi. Don't make a joke. Just say hi. I hear the giggle. I hear the giggle. Don't do it. Don't put
He
the
doesn't
joke
even
down.
have to say hi. The giggle is enough confirmation.
Put the joke down.
We gotta record on that thing.
Fuck me.
Finally, Hawk Tour content. The one thing we need.
30 seconds in, ladies and gentlemen, he did it. He did it. He's ruined it. Ruined it for the next however long this goes.
He's been holding that one in for so long. Like, he was really anxious about the fact that he didn't do it on the last podcast. And now he's really anxious he's going to have to do it now when it's outdated. And she's come out as a Trump supporter.
But look, all I'm saying is that her podcast is the third most listened to podcast in the entire world. I'm just saying she's doing something right.
Yeah, it's called being an industry plant.
Yeah, I think she's a human, not a plant, man.
Would you say she's been spitting?
Holy shit, man! I kneel. I physically kneel. Video listeners, you can
Patrick,
see
can
me
we start
kneeling,
over?
can't
No, I think we have to commit to the bit. Unfortunately, we got a minute 28 of absolute gold already. We just have to push through.
you? Yeah, right. That's fair.
So, other than being a menace to society, what else have you been up to this week, Steve? Steve, that was directed at Steve. Unless Seb has also been a menace to society. I don't know. I just
I got a grimace shake.
I also got a grimace shake.
How'd you feel? Did you like it? Happy birthday, Grimace, by the way.
How did you feel? Are you still breathing?
I mean, I woke up in a dark and dingy alley this morning, but after I got out of that, I was fine.
Yeah, no, those aren't fun anymore. That was last year's birthday. This year, it doesn't really matter. No one cares. They are really trying to. McDonald's advertising is really trying to capitalize on it. But well, I just thought it was I thought it was pretty good. The sprinkles I didn't like because I
didn't get sprinkles on mine.
Short. Really?
But yeah, no, it was just like fine. One of those things where I have it once, put a novelty, and then never again.
Yeah, it's like generic. What would you call it? Like a vanilla frappe type of thing, or vanilla?
No, it was like a blueberry big shake with a
really?
with whipped cream on top.
Mine did not taste like blueberry.
Did it taste like Grimace?
If Grimace tastes like blueberries, then yeah.
Before. What about purple berries?
What about schnozberries?
But yeah, no, I'm not sure. Like, are we getting the Macca sponsorship? Am I allowed to talk about that? Like, I just don't want to recommend people to get a drink that I'm not getting paid for. Yeah, fantastic chat, fellas. Fantastic chat.
Hang on.
Edit in post.
Does that mean everything that you've recommended so far is because you've been getting paid?
Also, you gave us like 1 second to respond before going, all right, yeah, great conversation.
That
was like no pause. You just went straight from saying, yeah, can I get a sponsorship? Can I talk about this? All right, yeah, great, thanks.
All right. Well, you can edit that in post to make it seem like the sound was longer.
I won't.
I didn't go unhinged. Yeah, let's move on. What have you been up to, Pat?
How's
that board game you're making?
What?
Aren't you making a board game or something?
No.
You never listen.
I'm bored of the games that you play. There we go. No, this week
he's bored on that thing.
Seth, can we start over?
No, see, you already committed a bit when we were like a minute and a half in. Now we're 6 minutes in.
I hate this. Okay, what have I been up to?
I
wanted to talk about Space Marine 2 last week. Accidentally spoke about it for a bit too much and thoughts were all over the place, so gone away, calmed down by playing a bunch of Space Marine, and I'm back to try it again. I have some thoughts and extra sneaky bonus. I saw the Borderlands movie. This is my Grimace shake, if you will, or my Grimace challenge. Cuts from me being all happy and smiley.
That happened.
But yeah, all happy and smiley before the film, and then cuts to me after and me dead.
That good, eh?
Yeah. I edge bowled for all the kids out there. But yeah, that's been my week, 2 weeks, however long it's been. But yeah, I'll probably end up talking about those. Seth, what have you been up to?
I finished Neo: The World Ends With You, which was like a month-long project for me, and I also let me get the notes up again because I've already forgot. All right, the Tekken 8 DLC story happened, so I played that.
Man, cannot remember what he got up to this week. Fantastic. All right.
To be fair, that one was like 90 minutes long, so it kind of happened and left my mind right away.
Did someone get thrown into a volcano and was it Kirby?
Yes and no.
Okay. You should have said one of those things was true, but I'll tell you which one. But all right, cool. Right, well, everyone shut up. I'm going to try talking about Space Marine 2, and hopefully
Oh, wait,
not
hold
have
on.
to,
I know we don't usually care about it, but Steven didn't say about what he's going to talk about on this Around the Lounge bit that we've angled together. He just talked about Grimace Shake.
I assume that was all he got up to this week.
Yeah, I had the Grimace Shake on Saturday, and I'm just kind of been waiting for this. Like, I called in sick to work because I'm like, nah, I'm not feeling it.
All right, we're going to skip what he has on the docket then.
Too much
I don't
Grimace.
want to work on that thing.
Oh my
no,
god.
But I'll stop probably at the end of the episode. But no, this week I've been playing No More Heroes 3. Oh, man, let me tell you what, some might say that's a video game, and I'd probably agree with them. It's a good video game too. Wait until I talk about it, then I'll walk myself out of it.
I love it when that happens.
So let me try the segue again. Okay, everyone shut up. I'm going to talk about Space Marine 2. So Space
True
Marine
Space
2
to Marine.
has come out a month ago now, and I've been playing it for what some would say would be a fairly a little bit of time. I've put in some hours. I'm now at the stage where all I need to do is keep playing the game, and eventually I'll get the platinum trophy. Because the last trophy that I have to get is just like number of enemies killed across all game modes, so that'll just slowly keep ticking up as I play.
Yeah, you'll get that.
Warhammer 40k, the trophy is to kill 41,000 enemies, and that's a lot of enemies.
One too many.
You're right, Saif. It should be 40,999.
I get it. It's because it's on the title.
40,000 on the dot.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that too. It's because it's like the 41st millennium. That's what they were going for. Anyway, and
so
the
you have
funny
to
thing
kill
is,
like 2 enemies? Is that what this is?
What?
Because it references like the title?
You have to kill 2 Space
Because
Marines.
Space Marine. Yeah, or just 2 enemies. Like, it doesn't have to be 2 Space Marines.
Or other 2, one is Space, one is Marine. Hang on.
You have to kill Space.
And then you have to kill Marine.
Is that the water? Anyway,
Anyway, where was I?
I digress.
Yeah, so as you always fucking do. So what's funny about it is that if you are someone who only plays the PvP mode, that still technically counts towards the kill 41,000 enemies. So I don't know about you, but I average maybe 10-ish kills a game. So it would take a long ass time to get there via PvP. Anyway.
I don't play the game, so I'm probably averaging about 0, if that helps.
Okay. Well, if you can bring that average up to at least 1, then at least you're on the path. You know, then it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I won. One for
long
me.
ass time. Seth, kill Steve. There we go. That's your 1.
Gladly.
Don't do that. Don't kill me on that thing.
I'm just going to wait till Steven gets in the bath and then I'm chucking a toaster in.
Got a bath on that
cool.
thing.
So
Bath tub.
I'm gonna end it all live on pod. So a lot of people have talked about all the good parts of Space Marine 2, so not gonna rehash those. The main cliff notes. Campaign, very good. Some people say a little short. I think about the right length of time, given that there's not a huge amount of replayability within it, and just epic set pieces through a lot of it, which is really cool. It's made a huge number of people get into 40k. In my case, I've always been into the 40k lore, always like the 40k lore, but I've now been dragged back into more of the 40k lore more recently, so a lot of what's being recommended to me is like 40k based, both the war games as well as just like lore videos and stuff, so that's been kind of cool. You can basically call me Henry Cavill, really. He and I are basically the same, physically mostly, but I guess we're both also into...
No, I don't think you are,
40K.
because the Warhammer 40k devs had said be nice to Henry Cavill, and I don't think they do the same for you.
Fair enough. The bits that I want to talk on that I had a bunch of confusing thoughts on last time, which I've consolidated back down, is that once you finish the campaign, because if you're like me, you probably went through the campaign first, and you can play the campaign and co-op with friends, and it's quite a bit of fun. That's what a friend and I did over like 2 sittings, got through the campaign. It was awesome. Really enjoyed it. Once you finish that, you have 2, you've got like the red pill and the blue pill. One of them is the PvE mode called Operations, and one of them is the PvP mode, which is kind of like your standard. It's kind of like just old-timey third-person shooter arena battles. Quite a lot of fun.
Every video I've seen of this makes it feel like Gears of War. Does it feel like Gears of War?
Very much so. Yeah. Gears of War is a very good starting point for it. The bits that I want to hit on is that I overall have really enjoyed my experience of Space Marine 2. Easy 9 to 9.5 out of 10. The bits that stop it from being a game that I cannot put down, which is funny given that I kind of haven't been able to put it down, is that there is a lot of investment required to get the most out of particularly the PvE mode, where if it were more live surfacey, it would be the sort of thing that you could see being monetized to ease some of that grind. Now, they don't have any microtransactions or ways of easing that grind, so it kind of puts you on a level playing field, but it does take you a lot of investment to get to the end of some of the end gamey content type stuff, and it's very isolated in terms of where that investment goes. So what I mean by that is that you have 6 operations currently. I know that the roadmap says that they're going to introduce a few more, and so that's 3 operations versus Tyranids, 3 operations versus Chaos. And at least from how I enjoy playing, I really favor playing against the Tyranids, because Chaos play like a bunch of bitches, where they basically just pew you from a distance, and you have ranged weapons, but there's so many of them with their own ranged weapons that they just murder you unless you're in cover or unless you're constantly getting some sort of armor or health back, which is just very hard to sustain, particularly through higher difficulty. Whereas Tyranids bias much more towards kind of swarming you with melee units, and so at least you don't have to go very far to do some kind of execute to get a bit of health or a bit of armor back. So why is that an issue? So suddenly, instead of playing 6 operations, I'm now really only playing 3. And of the 3, they're different lengths, and most of the XP that you get comes from finishing the operation. So you're biased towards doing the shorter operations because you want the most XP for the amount of time you're playing, because each of these is a big investment of time into like a particular class. So of the 6 operations, I'm now really only playing 1. So I'm playing Operation 2, which is Decapitation. And I have played this single operation enough times. I know where I think every possible secret spawn item is. As in, I will just I can switch my brain off. I know exactly where everything is, what I need to do for each like objective or mission or what have you, and check all the secret spots for the for some secret items, being a way to unlock bits of the armory, and a way to increase the XP you get at the end with Gene Seed. And so I enjoy that operation, but I find it difficult to want to keep playing the same one, because each one takes 30-ish minutes, and you can't really change up. You certainly can't change your class in the middle of it, but you can change your loadouts. But the problem is your loadouts don't really change how you play as much as you pick a loadout for the next thing that you're doing. And I would much prefer it if, for example, Remnant, holy crap, I completely forgot to add something else to the docket. The 3rd Remnant DLC is out. I'll get to that next time. 3rd DLC is out. That's a whole other thing that's been playing. What?
Okay, so you have been playing. It just seemed like you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no. So it's funny. Like, really quick tangent on that. I took a break from Space Marine 2 and went, I'm so burned out playing Space Marine 2 because I'm just playing the same operation over and over again. I'll play Remnant 2. Check Remnant 2. Remnant 2 is like, hey, I've got this massive update. And I went, no way.
I'm back in.
Yeah, exactly. And then I see that there's all this content online and people going, yo, the 3rd Remnant DLC is out. It's amazing. And all this other stuff. We'll get to that. If you're on the fence about it, highly recommend. Very, very good. As well as just a massive free update that's overhauled a whole bunch of stuff. We'll get to that later. Anyway, so returning to Space Marine 2, at its core, you have 6 different classes that play quite differently, and that's cool. I really enjoy the variability in the different classes that you get to play as. The difficulty is that your cosmetics, for example, are linked to a particular class, and this class means even if you really like the cosmetics of one class, but you prefer playing as another class, no crossover, even though you're wearing what some would say would be kind of similar armor. It's not enough of a crossover. It's kind of like that issue that Halo Infinite had, with things being locked to particular classes. So not really like a color thing, but just like I play as a particular class, but I really, like, I guess to give a concrete example, I love the idea of the cosmetic armor upgrades. They're purely cosmetic. They do not offer any stats or anything differently. But the cosmetic upgrades on the Bulwark class look amazing. But
I'm sorry, can you say that class name again?
Bulwark. I struggle with this word. Leave me alone.
Okay, it sounded like you said like Bogwark or something.
No. It's like Bulwark. Like Bulwark. I really don't know how to say this word. It's like one of the few words that I just struggle with in the English language. Sword and shield type guy, like big face tanky person. I love the cosmetics. Like the armor set looks so good at higher levels. The problem is, it's kind of tiring because it's a very melee focused class to want to play this class. You play the odd game and it's fine, but then you want to change it up because it plays so melee focused. And you're like, I really want this cosmetic. I have to keep playing as this class, and you just get burnt out of it. And so you swap to a different class, but then you're playing it and you don't get progress with your cosmetics. And so that's just like a mild frustration of like, I wish there was a way of being able to kind of like when you finish an operation, you get a resource that you can spend across all of your stuff. And it would be cool if there was a way of using either that resource or a similar resource to help speed up the progression of some of these cosmetics, because some of these cosmetics take, I think at the top, like the final unlocks, are 35 victories on operations. So that's 35 times, let's say, average of 30-ish minutes, because some of them do take quite a bit longer, especially the first few times you go through them, and you have to finish them. And I've failed several where, sometimes the squad dynamics just don't work out, sometimes the difficulty's too high, sometimes you just get unlucky, which has happened to me a few times, and so shit happens, you lose. When you lose in an operation, you get basically nothing. You get like a little bit of XP, but you're really incentivized to finish the primary objective. And that's kind of its own issue. So that, it just feels very grindy on that side of it. The upgrades, in terms of like the weapon trees and the different unlocks and stuff, they're all really cool. But, and this is the one other negative that pulls it from being from a 10 to a 9.5 or a 9, is that there is a lot of overlap between how things play in operations and PvP, but they don't work together in all of the ways that you expect. And so what do I mean by that? So 2 examples. One, the 35 operation victories to unlock a particular armor set. You can also do 35 PvP victories. So, okay, each round is like 10 minutes if you get really lucky. Let's say each one's maybe, let's say 15 minutes. 35 times 15 minutes if you win every match, which, if you have my win rate, is definitely not the case. And again, if you lose a PvP match, you get basically nothing again. Quite disheartening. But what's weird is that when you swap between game modes, they have overlap. Like you unlock an armor set because you've played, say, 20 operations. You have that same armor set unlocked in PvP, but it will tell you the armor is all new on the other game mode. So the game mode, PvP game mode cosmetic unlocks are unlocked the same as operations, but they don't know that you've already seen them as new. Or when you swap between game modes, they'll be like, hey, you have something new in your inventory. Does that make sense? Like it's weird that you can unlock them at the same time, but they're treated separately, if that makes sense.
I think I get it, yeah.
So it's like, you come back from finishing an operation, you're like, hey, I got this new armor set, cool. I'm now going to wear this armor set. I'm now wearing this new armor set, sweet. You then go to PvP mode. PvP mode's like, hey, you've never worn this armor set before. This armor set's all new. And you're like, no, it's not. I've been using this for hours in the other game. Why do you think this is new? Why do I have to go back and mark off every armor piece that I've unlocked since I was last here because you don't know that I've unlocked these?
Yeah, okay.
So that's one annoyance. It's like, it's a mild annoyance, but it's just because I get like, there's like the thing in my head that says you have something new in your inventory, you need to see what it is, even though you know what it's going to be. And the other thing, and this one is probably a bit more relatable. So, you know how I said there's Tyranids and Chaos as the 2 different factions in operations? Some of the perks you get are, what's the best way to phrase this? So, part of the draw of operations is you have a class tree, which you can unlock a bunch of perks on, and you have specific weapon trees, which you can unlock a bunch of perks on. And they're completely separate, and it's totally cool. That's totally fine. However, some of the perks on your character tree and some of the perks on your weapon trees are specifically either for particular weapons or when you're against particular enemies. So, for example, on the sniper class, one of your character perks might be you have a faster charge up time with a particular weapon. And so, if you're not using that weapon, that character perk is absolutely useless to you. And so, okay, just pick another perk. Fair enough. The bit that's weird is that you have 3 loadout slots, right? You can pick 3 loadouts, and when you're in an operation, there are some points in the map that you can choose one of those 3 loadouts. It's like a big, it's like a drop pod in Warhammer lore. It's like a drop pod, you rock up and you're like, yep, I was using loadout 1, I now want to use loadout 2. So you can't just arbitrarily choose the weapons that you're using, you can just choose the loadout. What's kind of frustrating is that you cannot, at least as far as I've tested, save your weapon tree and your character tree as part of a loadout. So if you've spec'd your sniper, let's just use that as the example, to be really good with a particular gun, and you swap to a different loadout in the middle of the mission and you no longer have that gun, that perk point is now useless. And it's a little weird to me that it makes it for a simpler experience in terms of designing your characters, designing your loadout, but it's a little annoying that it doesn't. It seems like it's just missing an extra step to make it more usable, because at a higher difficulty, you want all of your perk points to be doing something. It feels really bad if you know that you have a perk point that's just sitting there useless. And on the character side, some of your weapons might get a bonus to 10% more damage against Chaos or 10% more damage versus Tyranids. But those weapon trees are the same. They're locked to the weapon, even despite your characters, despite your loadouts. So let's say on my chainsword, I have 10% extra damage to Tyranids. Every class that uses that chainsword also gets 10% extra damage to Tyranids. But if I'm versing Chaos on any of those classes, none of them get any value out of that 10% perk point. It's just a little annoyance of like, it seems like it was designed 90% of the way there, but it's just missing that last 10%. Does that make sense?
It seems like it's close to, I don't want to say close to being perfect, because nothing's perfect, right?
It seems like the sort of thing that you can just fix in an update, I guess, is the bit. It's not like a fundamental issue. It's just something that feels like either it was designed a particular way or it just wasn't thought through far enough, but they could fix in an update. But it's just annoying that...
It's like a quality of life thing. Like, it's something that you might have seen during like testing a game or something, but then when it's like, it's a sort of a minor thing, and then you throw it out there, people with different play styles are like, oh, okay, no, this is dog shit.
Yeah, and to give credit to the dev teams, there are several other quality of life things that I talked about the last time I tried discussing this, that they have actually put out an update to address some of. So I guess, don't want to say I'm the voice of the community, but at least some of the issues that I have found with the game are issues that other people have also shared with the game. The final thing is that some of the loading times are just kind of bonkers. In that I'm playing on a PS5. Admittedly, it's not a PS5 Pro. Sony can go fuck themselves. But I mean, I know it's not out yet. It was a joke. Calm down. But
too late.
But it can.
He's
it can
taking it and running with it.
It can take you like a minute to load into someone's lobby. Which a minute you're like, okay, 60 seconds. But 60 seconds of just staring at a loading screen isn't like an insignificant amount of time. Like you feel it loading.
Do you
for that
know
long.
if the are you matching up with random people, or is it a friend you're playing with? Trying to load into.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's
okay,
always about a minute.
Okay, because I was going to say, do you know if they're playing it on PC with a hard drive rather than an SSD? Because that's a problem that comes up with Tekken.
Yeah, good question. You can see in PvP if people are on PS5 or PC. I don't know if you can see that for operations, or at least I haven't looked for it as hard in operations.
Yeah, and even if you can tell if they're on PlayStation or PC, you can't tell what storage system they're using.
Correct, but it's also, so it's not just joining other people, it's also I'm in my game and I start an operation. It will take me a minute to load into the operation on my side as well. So it's just slow loading.
Because Halo Infinite, when that came out, that had the same type of thing, because people on like, that was available to people on like lower end PCs and like the the Xbox One. So it was like by the time the Xbox One people loaded in, it was like a minute. But if you didn't have those people, it'd be like 10 seconds or something. It might just be people on like lower end. Hang on, is there crossplay?
So okay, there is crossplay. Let me try explaining this again because I think we're conflating
Probably.
two different issues. So I'm in my game, right? I'm just playing an operation by myself, right? No one is joining me. I'm not joining anyone. From selecting the operation to starting the operation, take about a minute of loading just to load the operation.
Yeah, just by yourself. Yeah,
okay,
just by myself. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
so-
because I was complaining that it was a thing with doing it online was the problem.
And so it's the same
so I
as
thought,
if I join someone else, it's also a minute. If someone else joins me, they probably take a minute. I can only assume.
Yeah, but even doing it by
PvP
yourself, it's a minute still.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's a
Even
problem.
PvP takes a minute. Even some of the campaign stuff takes like a minute to load into levels. So it just feels slow at times. And what makes it worse is that when you join someone, and in operation mode specifically, there's an issue here. You can only have one of a particular class, and you cannot kind of bias your matchmaking to ensure that the class that you're playing as is not the same class that someone else has already picked. So you could spend a minute load into their game, and then someone says, and then it suddenly appears as, someone's already picked your class. Sorry, like what are we doing here? You know, one of you's going to have to change, which has happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to everyone playing Space Marine 2. A bit frustrating. I generally are on the side of if they were here first, then they're the ones that, you know, pick the class, whatever. But at the same time, and this luckily hasn't happened to me, if the host leaves an operation, they will kick out everyone else that's joined them. There's no host migration during an operation. There's host migration in the lobby. So if the operation's finished, then and someone leaves, then it's like, okay, you're the host now. Congrats. But if I'm the host of an operation and decide, actually, my hot pocket's done, I'm going to go eat, and it's right before finishing the final objective, it will just kick everyone else that's joined, and it will just say, you know, sorry, the host left the game. You get nothing.
All the best.
Sucks to suck.
Thanks for playing. Yeah.
Again, it hasn't happened to me that specific situation hasn't occurred to me. I've kicked like my friend out when we've been playing together and realized, we loaded in and one of us is the wrong class, whatever, because again, you load in and you realize that you haven't spec'd your loadout properly and you're like, shit. There goes a minute to load in, realize it's the wrong loadout, take another minute to load out again, respec the class.
Guys,
okay, now we're good. Start the operation again, load back in for another minute. Okay, now we can start properly. Like that's a cripplingly long time. And hey, may get better with updates. May get better with updates. Who knows? It doesn't detract too much from the game experience. It's just an annoyance that stops it from being a perfect game. So that and it being too grindy stop it from being a perfect game. But all of the people that like, I can see myself coming back to this repeatedly with specifically if they put in more updates to increase the replayability of operations, because I would say, and this is sort of my closing thoughts on this, that I have put in enough time as a block of time to have appreciated everything that Space Marine 2 has to offer. I have not, nor am I anywhere close to unlocking everything for all of the classes. I've done that for 2 of the classes, and I'm halfway through a third out of 6. And I've barely unlocked anything in PvP. So I'm saying that as someone that's probably got 100-something hours in it at this point, and I am nowhere close to unlocking everything. I don't know if I expect to be close to unlocking everything, because if I do have everything unlocked, then what's my incentive to keep playing? But it's a game that really feels punishing if you want to play a particular way to unlock something specific, and you just need to lock in for like a 30-minute block of time, because there's no smaller amount of investment you can do to meaningfully unlock stuff in some of these progressions. And that does feel like a game design problem more than a quality of life fixing, patching, updating one. It's not a massive problem because you have to have played this game for 80 to 100 hours for it to be an issue, which, that over the course of a more sane amount of time of a few weeks or a few months would be totally fine. But I really enjoying this game just hit a grind wall of, okay, you've experienced all the simple stuff to get. Now to unlock the more endgamey stuff, lock in, champ. You got 6 rounds of 30-minute operations ahead of you to unlock the next thing that you want. Have at him. So, yeah, it's it's difficult to say how much of a detriment it is. I think in context, it's not that big a deal overall. It's just an annoyance to, I guess, a hardcore player like me. But overall, still super happy with it. Still a solid 9 or a 9.5. Like, really, really enjoyed my time with it. Plays really well. Definitely feels Gears of War-y. Definitely makes you feel like a Space Marine. And all the little nods and nuances that they have with all of the 40k lore. There was a big thing that came up talking with the devs of like, we kept like shuffling stuff back and forth with like Games Workshop about, hey, how would this work and how would this do that? And Games Workshop apparently pushed their glasses up and were like, well, actually, this thing wouldn't work because this thing and this thing and these armor plates need to move this way. And so it's definitely a labor of love to kind of really make you feel like Space Marine, but definitely worth it. Highly recommend.
Well, it's good. It's good. It's especially for such a franchise like the Warhammer series, or it's just got people that have just diehard fans. And from my understanding, like Vermintide 2, when that came out last year, the year before, that was like game. But it's good. Would you recommend this game to someone who, like myself, who has never played or interacted with the 40k series?
So
play Space Marine 1 first, coward.
Exactly. Yeah, the easiest way to do that is to say play Space Marine 1 because it'll be crazy cheap at the moment and should be available on. I'm sure it's available on every place. It's definitely available on PC.
Oh, so I was saying it as a joke of, don't skip the first game.
There isn't a huge... Yeah, you're not missing out on a massive amount of lore if you miss the first game. And I say that as someone because I played the first game, but it's also been 11 years? 10 or 11 years since the first one came out.
Holy shit,
I think
game's ancient. I'm
the first one was a 360
couple
game.
eyes on the Jaggies.
Yeah.
You love it, Stephen. It's a 360 game.
Admittedly, it's a game that like I played Space Marine 1 a couple years after it came out.
Old game bad.
I probably played Space Marine 2016-ish. So it's only been 8 years for me. Did not look up the like recap of Space Marine 1 or anything, but I just remember enough bits of it, enough of the like cliff notes to recontextualize where I'm at Space Marine 2. But I don't feel like I was left in the lurch lore-wise. There were like a few nods to Space Marine 1. There's like a few moments where like I, during the campaign specifically, like made a joke to my mate who I was playing with, and then the joke turns to reality, and we couldn't tell if I was making the joke because I remember something from Space Marine 1, or if I was just trying to say the funny thing, and the devs also thought, let's do the funny thing. But yeah, play Space Marine 1. Game, from my memory, still holds up really well. And if you like Space Marine 1 and it's dirt cheap to buy and play, then you will love Space Marine 2.
Yeah, okay, cool. And I'm a big fan of Gears of War, so maybe I'll check it out. Maybe indeed.
Hmm.
Not as concise as I would have liked in an ideal world, but since when do I talk about something that I like that doesn't go for 30 minutes?
No, it's good. It's good to hear the passion. It's good to hear the passion.
Tekken 8, 8 minutes. 1 minute for each Tekken.
I don't care about this.
If you can name any more Tekkens, then you get extra minutes.
It's fighting game, rollback netcode, all the best. I've said it.
Tekken 1, Tekken 2, Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken 5, Tekken 6, Tekken 7, Tekken 8, Tekken Tag Tournament, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection,
11.
and Tekken 5... no, not Tekken... I forgot the name of the free-to-play one, so
I'm
I'm just
taking
going to
away
skip
your
that one.
speaking privileges. I'm taking away your speaking privileges. And you have the gall to make fun of me for making a Hawks Hill joke, and you just named every fucking Tekken game. Holy shit.
I missed a few. Tekken Advance for the GBA.
I don't care. I didn't fucking ask.
Tekken 2
game?
with Liam Neeson.
Ooh, that was actually a clever one.
Thank you. Good news is you named
and tech on that thing.
That wasn't a good one.
No.
Good news is you named
the other ones have been
enough to earn 11 minutes, but you've already lost one while naming all of them, so you're back at 10.
Yeah, no, that's fine. There's still 2 more minutes than I was given at the beginning. So Patrick, my friend, my good friend who also played Tekken 8 at the start of the year, you remember the entire...
Hey, Steven, yeah.
You remember the entire point of that story was, hey, Kazuya Mishima finally killed his father Heihachi by throwing him into a volcano? And then what happens to the world after that happens?
Correct.
What if Kazuya was a fucking idiot and didn't actually kill Heihachi? What if he didn't confirm that kill? What if throwing someone to a volcano, you don't just assume they're going to land in lava and that kills them?
This is why you always double tap old people. I've been saying this for years.
This is why you watch them go plunk in the lava because what hey, we all know how Hachi is back because of the premise of the DLC. The way he comes back is just that as he was falling down, a Tekken monk came out of nowhere and caught him as he was falling.
You know all those jokes that they make about Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine until he's 90?
Yeah.
You ever think they're going to let Heihachi die?
No, never. This is like the third cop-out death for him.
Yeesh.
I do be like that sometimes, though.
I, to be honest, Tekken 8 story DLC was not on my radar, and I don't know when I last booted Tekken 8, and I'm scared the next time that you and I play some friendlies because I don't think they'll be very friendly.
I'll play characters I don't know how to play, if that helps.
I'll also play characters I don't know how to play. That's all of them.
But yeah, this DLC came out for free. So first off, very, very nice of them to do that. I thought it came with the Heihachi DLC, so you had to pay for it. So was happy to be wrong about that because the DLC only ended up being about 90 minutes. And it just kind of exists to be an advertisement for the free DLC characters so far. So they give a little bit of a demonstration of what Eddie can do and what his character is like. A little demonstration of Lydia and what her character is like. They hype them up a little bit, like they make them seem really cool. And then they make them do the stupidest thing by having them believe that Heihachi has amnesia and starts training him to be even stronger than before. So by the end of the DLC...
Holy shit.
He gets
amnesia.
over his...
Oh my god.
He gets over his amnesia, learns the secret technique of the Tekken monks, and then kills all the Tekken monks. Very, very funny outcome. Made everyone look insanely stupid. I was sitting there questioning why they even saved him in the first place when he's one of the most vile, detestable people in the series. But here we are. He's back. He's alive. Sure, why not? Do it in the funniest way possible.
I kind of get redeemed.
No, they kind of tried to give him a redeeming factor in Tekken 7, but they've doubled down on him being a scumbag.
Oh, well, we'll get him next time.
But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say about that one. It's a neat story mode. I kind of hoped that it was a little bit longer to give like more explanation about Heihachi and Reina's connection, and there wasn't really much there. But
they fucking?
She's his daughter.
I made myself look silly.
You wanna pick up the shovel anymore there, or are you gonna put it down and back away?
Oh, back away.
It was fine. It was a neat 90 minutes. It just got through it in like a night after work. And then only thing that I kind of wish it had done a little more was to maybe tease who the next character is going to be that's supposed to be releasing before the end of the year, because we have no idea who the fourth character is supposed to be, and I hate these season passes not revealing every character from the jump. But it is what it is.
Surely we have a Sakurai, a new challenger approaches, and it's like, holy shit, it's Sora, or it's Minecraft Steve.
I want it to be Tifa.
We all want things.
I know, we never get them. But yeah, no, neat story mode. If you have Tekken, it's definitely worth checking out just for a little bit, because it only takes a little bit.
Maybe I will.
Oh, and those new characters don't have like arcade modes yet. If they ever will. It's just this one story mode.
Hang on. Whoa. Hang the fuck on. So you can't... There are these new characters and you can't use them.
I mean, yeah. I said they don't have like an arcade mode.
So
you can still use them online.
Ah, okay.
And like versus CPU.
But surely arcade is just like he's chucking in the arcade. Just fight 10 battles or something.
Okay. It's like arcade mode's been rebranded as something called a character episode, where it's like, hey, here's like a miniature story with them. And it's like, yeah, no, they haven't made like a CG ending for them to have those type of episodes.
Okay, cool. I'm with you. All right. Apologies. I don't know that much about fighting games.
But yeah, no rating. It's just a quick update thing, sort of.
I mean, it's free. It's
free.
It's perfect.
3 out of 10.
Oh, 3 out of 10.
No,
I think
free.
it's free, and I'm like, no, fuck it. You paid for this.
No.
The update is free.
Divide by 0.
Wait, is the update free?
Yeah, the story update is free.
Holy shit.
Steven really doesn't listen.
No, he really doesn't.
I thought you meant like free as in, it's free because I paid for the fucking season pass, which doesn't make it free.
No, I said I thought it was part of the season pass, but it was actually free.
Sorry.
You know what? Steven's going to be the guy who goes, so, like, Heihachi's dead, right?
He is. They killed him.
It
off
was
in the
all
last
illusion,
one.
Also, Heihachi has a Persona 4 moment. He has to fight his shadow, his true self.
I was going to be like, there's a lot of moments in Persona 4. It's a 100-hour game. Well, we'll get them next
how
time.
many of those moments were golden?
Oh, I'd say all of them after the second hour.
Well, given that was almost bang on 8 minutes, we're going to leave it there. Thank you for that, Saif.
I didn't even need a 2 extra.
No, you don't. You can use it to just dunk on Steve during
2
his
on
section.
that thing.
No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, No More Heroes. Yeah, fans of this program might remember me speaking about No More Heroes 1 and 2 because I played the remaster. Yeah, the remaster of those for the Nintendo Switch about 2 years ago now. So I think this would have been like a while ago. So this game came out for the Nintendo Switch in 2021, and that's why it was announced very much alongside remakes 1 and 2. So I got 1 and 2 because they were on special. And then I'm like, cool, I'll wait for number 3 to come to a more powerful console. And it did. Came to the Xbox One, Series X, and like the rest of the gang, shall we say. And this feels like a fucking Switch game. Like, if I was playing this on the Switch, I could kind of accept the graphical hiccups and the performance things. I'm not going to accept it on the Series X. It's no good. Like, I say no good. That's being very harsh. There are some like weird graphical pop-ins. So like every time like there'll be like a cutscene. The cutscenes, some of them go for like quite a long time and use a lot of different camera angles and shots and like kind of stuff. But like it'll change, and then a different like it'll change the shot, and then it'll have like just the characters like shirt and pants, just like the texture, and then like the rest of it will just load in, like pop in, and that happens in every single cutscene and every single shot. You think, oh yeah, cool, it's just loading in at the start of the cutscene. Nope, it's a whole fucking cutscene, and it gets quite jarring. And it's like, oh, okay, they've done nothing but port it. And when you're porting things up, I think I'm expecting a bit more just fluidity than like I can deal with the cutscenes every time you like change areas or the loading screens every time you change areas or you enter a mission or something. But the weird graphical pop-ins are pretty rough. It also gets a bit framey in some of the later sections with the boss battles that are like you've got a lot going on or a lot of enemies on the screen. And that's kind of a bit disappointing as well. It did, however, feel like it was running at 60 frames a second, or it was doing something to kind of make it feel like it was a lot smoother than those first 2 games. But yeah, and it just, that kind of stuff, like especially the graphical stuff, kind of really hits you in the face at the start, and you're like, oh. And I'm like, oh, this is not a good first impression. But
I feel like I'm kind of used to that sort of thing because, first off, No More Heroes is kind of a budget series, but also Sonic Frontiers came out as like a Switch first game, and then there was like a lot of issues that were like, you could have changed a few settings a few settings to make like the visual jank and pop in not such a bad problem on the other consoles and PC, but it's still here the exact same way it was on Switch. Why didn't you do anything? And I feel like if something is a Switch first game, I just kind of expect them to be like that on every console with basically maybe just a clearer image and a better performance.
Yeah, I kind of thought about that. I'm like, oh, look, it's a Switch game. Let's give it a break. This game came out like it got ported to next gen, current gen consoles like a year after. Like, it's not like as if it was like, oh, 2 months later it came out. No, it was a year. They had the time. They probably made the money from however many it sold on the Switch. Like, they could have done something, just worked on it a little bit more. But at the same time, I barely understand how games work in the back end. I'm just there to enjoy them. I don't know what goes on in the back end. Maybe they did try. Maybe there are things that they've done that I don't see. But it's just kind of a bit disappointing, especially that graphical thing. But the game itself, holy fucking shit. It's so fucking good. What they've done is, so they've kind of made it very much like the first 2 games where it's like, hey, you've got these 10 assassins, you've got to climb the rankings to make number 1. Very kind of brain dead, understandable story. But it's like, oh, look, you've got
video
your goal.
Game logic. Here's your bosses. Go after them.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's a lot of video game logic. And that's fine. The first 2 games, well, technically there's 3 games, but I thought the third game was a bit of a spin-off, but it turns out it was a bit more important than what I thought it was. So there's a couple of story beats I missed in it.
No, say what you meant. It's more important than you wanted it to be.
Yeah, exactly. It references like there's like two characters introduced in the first like 2 minutes, and I'm like, I have no clue who these fuckers are. So then I had to like read the plot of No More Heroes Desperate Struggle, which is a Switch game, and I thought it was just a series of mini games and a bit of a side story, but no, they've made it more important. But whatever, that is what it is. I'm not going to go play it, but whatever. But yeah, anyway, like you lost my train of thought there. But in terms of like how it presents each individual assassin fight, like the big overarching thing is there's this big alien kind of galactic prince that's come over and he's like, oh, hey, I'm going to eat the world or take over the world type of thing. But then he kind of cuts a deal with the Assassin Association. It's like, oh, look, there's like we've got the 10 strongest fighters in the galaxy and only Travis Touchdown, our titular character, can climb the assassin rankings and save the world type of thing. And it's pretty good.
I also want to quickly chuck in that the alien's name is FU, which is two puns. The first one being get, fuck you. But the second one is that both F and U are one letter off from ENT.
I didn't get that second one. Okay, that's clever. Holy shit.
Sorry, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Are we still talking about Heihachi dying in a volcano, or what's happening?
Yeah, this is a fighting game. No, we're actually talking about Warhammer.
So I'm fighting to stay awake, I tell you what.
Yeah, but you honk shoe and sleep on that thing.
You made that joke already. Get a new one.
No.
Go to joke jail.
Do not pass Hawk to a girl. But no, anyway. But the way that it presents these different
do not
assassin
collect
fights.
to $100.
Wait until you hit rank tour.
Oh, no.
The jokes write themselves.
I'm sorry, Seth. That one just slipped out.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the listeners.
They're so good, but anyway. But so it presents each of the different assassin fights as like a different episode. Like it'll have like an intro, a 1 minute intro sequence. It'll have like a credit sequence of like the classic anime type of stuff. It'll have like credits as well, like starring like this person as Travis, this person as like Fu, and then like this person as like the assassin you're gonna verse. And I think that it's fucking fantastic. The way it presents it really makes it feel like episodic and more of like an epic film, as if that's what it's trying to go for, because it's constantly like referencing this. I think he's a Japanese director, Miike or something. I'm not really too sure, but the start of each episode starts with Travis and one of his friends just talking about like one of like Miike's films and stuff, and they're just kind of having a yap on the couch as they're watching it, and it's pretty fun. And it's so detached from the story. Just like criticizing this director while there's this big intergalactic plot going on. And the humor for this game is spot on. I think I thought No More Heroes #1 was pretty funny. No More Heroes 2 was kind of a bit too on the nose, and you can definitely tell it was trying too hard to be funny. Whereas with this one, it definitely feels like it's hit its stride again. It knows what it's supposed to be. It kind of breaks the fourth wall in ways that are funny. The way that the enemies kind of talk to Travis and the way that Travis kind of interacts with them. Like it's out there to the point it's funny, but not out there to the point it's like, okay, this is too over the top. You're having a fucking laugh here. And it is very, very good. It still kind of falls down like as I said it, fans of this show probably know exactly what I said about No More Heroes 1 and 2, but it does feel very much the loop is established. It's you collect enough money by defeating enemies or completing missions or that are mini games. You pay the fee to start the next assassin thing. Go on, keep going. And this pretty much retains that formula. It does make it a little bit different, as in it kind of gives like it is kind of like the hub world, and there's like 6 different ways you can go. And on your little bike, it's obviously a reference to Akira, because all Japanese bikes are those cool red Akira bikes that everyone's got. But it kind of keeps it fresh, because the missions, I think they're called qualifying matches, you have to do introduce new enemies or enemies that are bosses or different waves of enemies, and it kind of makes it feel fresh. Unfortunately, though, that kind of means that when you've got 10 of them, by the time you hit about 7 or 8 down the line, it's like, all right, all you're doing is just throwing more enemies at me. All you're doing, these enemies just take more damage, or sorry, take less damage, but deal more damage. And while that challenge is still there, it does kind of be like, okay, I've obviously seen everything now. I'm just kind of getting through it to the next boss. But it is pretty cool. Like the combat is still pretty, very much hack and slashy. Don't really have to. There is a little bit of strategy towards the end, just because you got to avoid like taking hits because they do so much damage. It does introduce like this thing called a death glove, which kind of gives you special powers, and you can kind of combo those with your attacks and your dodges, and that can kind of, towards the end of them, I was getting like 200, 250 hit combos, which is fantastic, and you can kind of beat a whole encounter without taking any damage, but like kind of gets a bit boring because it's not really, it's like dodge, attack, 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 dodge, attack, 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 wrestling move to recharge my beam saber, attack, 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 attack. Like it kind of does get a bit
like Arkham type combat.
Nah, it's not like that. It's the Arkham combat feels more impactful, whereas this just feels like I'm just spamming the attack button.
There's very
like,
budget hack and slash.
Gotcha.
Very budget hack and slash. Yeah, I've never played. Oh no, I played DMC, the remake, but it's kind of just, it's not even that because you can't like juggle them or anything. You're kind of borderline stun locking them in some areas as well. But it's very simple, but it looks fucking fantastic and it does feel really good.
Important question about the combat. Does Travis still recharge beam swords by jerking them off?
Still does it. Yep. He's still yakking it.
Does he still two-hand them as well?
Yep. Yeah. You know, he starts off with one hand and then like towards the end
he starts double cranking it. That's the ticket.
Double cranking it.
Good shit.
And that it's got like so much like, I don't want to say passion, but so much like flavor. Because like when you saves the game, he goes into a bathroom, but like there's a 1 second cutscene of him like taking off his pants and taking a shit pretty much. And that's him saving the game. And it's just very funny. It's got a lot of character. It's got a lot of life. It knows what it's trying to do. It doesn't try to do anything it's not. And definitely like it feels like it's taken all the lessons that they got right in No More Heroes 1 and everything they got wrong in No More Heroes 2. Because No More Heroes 2, while they did improve the combat, I felt the humor was no good. And it got very repetitive very fast. And it does feel like they've definitely hit their stride with this. And I'd say if you're not even a fan of the No More Heroes series, like it's still pretty worth a pick up. It does reference a lot of previous story things, and it introduces but like references a lot of things that have happened before. And that's just kind of like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you kind of had like a recap type of thing? Or because there's this one battle you do, and when you finish it, you kind of meet someone and they kind of just act like they're old friends, but it's like, and they are old friends. Travis and I can't remember the guy's name, have like met each other before, but
his Irish brother,
like back in No More. It's one of the brothers. I think it's. See, I don't know. He's got like a younger brother and an older brother. Look, it doesn't matter.
The only one I know is Henry.
Yeah, it's not Henry. It's this other one. It's like an older one, but like they've referenced, because I think that was the bad guy from that spin-off that I didn't play. And I don't want to hear about like, oh, you didn't play the game, you don't get the story. You should still tell me who that character is. And
no, you play the game and you get the story.
But even if I had played that game,
this is what a linear narrative is.
But if it's been like 2 or 3 years since I played it, I'm not going to remember it.
Play it again.
Yeah. I knew I didn't get no friends here. But overall, it's a fantastic game. You're talking to a
Kingdom Hearts fan.
You know, you could watch it. Monster Hunter has no story. And Kingdom Hearts, you have to be an astrophysicist to even grasp the concept of what that story is trying to tell.
Oh, don't you just play them in order?
And you still don't know what's going on. That story doesn't make any sense. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Does not matter. Let's not do this. But no, it's a fantastic game. I really, really enjoy it. 400 hours of cutscenes issue.
Illiterate.
Literate. This fucking guy.
You might have to use a smaller word with himself.
Should stick to picture
got a
books.
word on that thing.
Skill issue.
Spot goes to the park. But no, and the soundtrack as well, very good as well. Like the sound design itself, it feels like very, like, because of course when like Travis beats like the bad guy, there's kind of like a quick time event that kind of to kind of finish it off, and there's always this cool guitar riff in the background, and there's always this one-liner that Travis says, and it's so fucking cool. So good. It does, unfortunately. Do you guys care if I? Yeah, pretty much. And it's like,
I'll take my headphones off if you want to spoil things.
Are you actually going to take? Yeah, I got to take your headphones off. Does he have his headphones off?
But yeah, how will we know when his headphones are off?
Well, he'll cry about it then. But this game just ends on a cliffhanger, and it does not feel like it needs to. That literally is the worst part of the game. It's no good at all. But yeah, I think that really kind of lets the story back. Like, not that the story was the biggest thing in the world, but it kind of is like this big grand fight scene, and it's over. Then like, everyone's enjoying it, and it's like cliffhanger bait, and it's like, oh fuck, what are we doing here? And I did not like that. But oh well. I just messaged Saif. He'll come back.
He's gone up to get
sure
he'll be back.
No, I'm here.
Cool. Hopefully. And then everybody died.
Fuck.
Oh shit. Sorry, Saif. Didn't see you there. No, but overall, I reckon this game's like a solid 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. That's a high praise for Steven.
It's actually a game I enjoyed. I think I'm just realistic in my ratings.
Except for not giving anything a 10.
Game. Yeah, I'm not giving anything a 10. Like, nothing's perfect. Every game has a flaw. If it's got a flaw, 10 stripped. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening. It's a good game. Go play it. It's on Game Pass. Actually, no, hang on. Steven rant for it. No, hang on. No, fuck you. I'm ranting for a second. I bought this game. I bought this game when it was like 70% off. And that is what it is. I do that. And then literally a week later, they announced it was coming to Game Pass. I nearly punched a hole in my TV. Holy shit.
You should go have a word with Phil Spencer.
He doesn't answer my calls. He knows I'm going to yell at him.
Do you use his full name when you yell at him?
What's his full name?
I don't know. I assume you knew if you're the one yelling at him.
I was going to say like Feichel or something, but that doesn't work. You know how Bike is short for Beichel? Well, if Mike is short for Michael, Bike is short for Beichel. So Phil must be short for like Beichel. I don't know. All right, you've killed me. Spit on that thing.
I do my best. Well,
what?
Unfortunately, the world didn't end with Steve, and it might end with you, Seth.
Oh shit! I wasn't expecting to jump into me right away.
Versus what?
Borderlands 3.
Hang on. What do you mean by Borderlands 3?
Oh wait, no, not Borderlands 3. Borderlands the movie.
All right, I mean, I can briefly talk about Borderlands.
No, let me do Neo Twirly first. You already set me up. I just wanted to express I was caught off guard.
You have expressed it. Talk about Neo.
Yeah, Neo: The World Ends With You. It is a longer.
The world ends with poo.
It is a longer-awaited game because the first The World Ends With You came out in 2008. I want to say 2007. So even older. And Neo Twirly. Let me get this. I want to get my dates right. Came out 2021. So it was a sequel like 14 years in the making.
That's some Duke Nukem years.
Yeah, the original was also a DS game, and it's a highly popular DS game. Like, a lot of people that play the game really love it. Actually, popular is the wrong word. It's like a niche, cult beloved classic sort of game. It's like, it didn't sell a lot, but the people that did buy it absolutely love it and swear by it. It's got an absolutely banging soundtrack, some great sprite work. I played the original through the Switch version, which has a couple of issues on its own, which is making me want to go and play the DS version. But the story and everything about that game, fantastic work. And I was really excited to go into Neo, because the whole reason I played the first one was because Neo was coming out. Neo, like, I'm not going to get into how they teased it for 10 years and so on. That's a whole development history on its own, but essentially what they did was they scrapped the old cast and brought in a new cast of 3 misfits, and 1 returning character that was a villain, but they've set him up as being a teammate for the game, and that was an interesting setup. And they immediately, with the first 20 minutes of the game, hooked me in. Like, the first 20 minutes have like this really banging opening, like an anime style opening cutscene. The setup of the story is great. The cutscenes that they showed to get into that story, phenomenally done. Should set expectations though. This is a cheaper game. This was something that was I believe it was primarily made for the Switch first, but the PlayStation version and the PC version look a little nicer, and they actually run at a decent frame rate. But yeah, no, everything that they did in the beginning like really hooked me in, and they slowly roll things out throughout the after that first hook. They just slowly introduce you to how the world works, how the gameplay works, how all these characters function, and it's neat how they roll these things out and like slowly build it up, because they know after like how the first game was received, people have caught on to how that first game structure has been laid out. So they're playing around with it. Like in the first game, it was like, hey, you're stuck in this Reaper's game. You have 1 week to try and make the top score. Otherwise, the losing team gets erased. The winning team gets whatever wish they want, and the rest of you get stuck and have to do another week of this torturous game that puts your existence at risk. And yeah, that first game, it's like, yeah, no, you win the first week, but something happens, so you got to do a second week. And then you win the second week, something happens, and so on and so forth, and it keeps going down that cycle to keep the story going. And this time they're like, okay, people know that's what we did in the first game, so now we're just going to do, the first week is the first act of a story, the second week is the second act of the story, and the third week is the finale of the story. And I appreciate them going, you're like, yeah, no, we're going to switch it up this time around.
I get it, switch it up because it's on the Switch. Good one.
You'll also like to know that they switched up how the gameplay works.
Hang on, wait, are you playing? Hang on, now I'm lost. You fucking lost me. Is this the DS one or?
Wait,
hang on,
wait. Okay.
The original is a
Is
DS
it a remake
one.
of the? But is this the one you're playing, or are you playing the sequel?
I'm playing the sequel. I'm mixing in little bits and details
Okay, cool.
about the first one to go how it's different, how the sequel plays off the first one.
Sorry, I got lost. What were you going to say, Pat?
Heihachi was thrown into a volcano. That's where
Who's
we're at.
Heihachi?
He doesn't fucking listen, Seth. He never fucking listens.
He never listens to either of us. But mostly you. But yeah,
Well, instead of a hawk, it was a falcon.
So in the first game, they have this system called like the pin system, where you equip these pins, and depending on what you have, you interact with the touchscreen in different ways. So like, there's some that are like, hey, tap on an enemy and you'll attack it this way, or swipe the enemy and you'll do this, or hold them and then hold on the screen and drag it around, and you'll use your psychic abilities to like conjure a bus or a bike and slam them into enemies. And so they've kept that pin system because that's like folded into the lore of the game. But they've decided, since there's no like touchscreen elements to the Switch, PC, and PlayStation, like as a combined set platform, they're like, okay, we're going to have to remap all of these different ideas onto buttons, and they made it work. There's like, hey, there's these pins that's like tap and you'll do a bunch of attacks, or hold it down and you'll charge up an attack. Or they still kept the, hey, hold down the button and you'll psychically grab a bus and just start slamming it around into the enemies, however willy-nilly, however you want. And it transferred over to a controller really well, is what I want to say. Like, it was a lot of fun, and because the Switch version was kind of a mess in how the pins controlled there, I vastly preferred how Neo just put everything on buttons and made it work. And by the end of the game, you've got enough characters that all of your face buttons are basically being used, and it's becoming a hectic mess of trying to keep everything going in a good flow. It feels really good to get a pin setup where it's like, yeah, no, I'm constantly in a good flow state. I'm getting all of my bonuses, and then I'm getting to pop off like my big super moves at the end of every fight.
Cool.
And yeah, keeping up with the first game.
Damn, that's crazy.
Banging soundtrack is still absolutely killing it. He's not the main composer, but Takaharu Ishimoto's owns this company, like a music company, and they did all of the music for the World Ends With You games. And yeah, they do like a whole different branch of like different rock musics, pop music, some electronic, and it all sounds fantastic. Like I if you don't want to play the World Ends With You games, I highly suggest checking out the OSTs themselves, because they're great. And like the first game, character writing, personalities, the way that they all express themselves, they're all fantastically written. Like you don't expect these type of games to get characters that just kind of kind of goofy, but also kind of down to earth. Like they hit core themes and character traits really well. But no, like a lot of them do end up being like very relatable. Was the word I was looking for. Yeah, a lot of characters end up being like really relatable in one way or another, and it just makes like the cast hit home really well. Yeah, I don't know. I should have written down notes because this is a very
does this game have voice acting?
Yeah, no, it's all it's got voice acting for the beginning and the end of every day, and in the middle of the days, it's like all just text based.
Hang on, this is a day-based game. Is this Persona? Hang on a minute.
Yeah, like every day of the week is a different challenge for the Reapers game that's being played throughout the story.
Oh yeah. You said that. Yeah, but I didn't know like it actually had the. You know, it doesn't matter what I thought. I've obviously misunderstood.
Yeah, it's just like every day is just another chapter of the story.
That's cool.
Yeah, and yeah, I really should have written down like notes for this game because it was like a massive game. I was picking away at this like every couple of nights, and then on like a weekend I'd just do like try to do a big session. But it was a really fun game to play.
Is it one of those games that because like every day is a new type of challenge, you can kind of just be like, all right, day's over. I've had a good time with this. I'm putting it down.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Like every day of it is like its own little chapter. Like it feels good to get through one day in like a 2-hour session, 3-hour session, and then put it down, come back to it the next day, do another chapter. Like it paces itself really well like that.
Right on.
There was one more thing I wanted to mention about the game, but it's slipping me right now. But all right, game length. It's like double the length of the first game, which really surprised me because the whole reason I ended up picking up the game now of all times was because Reignatus was coming out, and Reignatus has a Neo: The World Ends With You crossover in it. I was like, all right, I need to do my homework. I need to play Neo first, so I know what's going on with this crossover event, and I'm not completely lost in it. Went into it expecting it to be about 15 to 20 hours like the original game was. This ended up being like 45 hours for me to hit credits.
Jeez. Did it feel like it overstayed its length?
No, not at all. There were a couple of times where I was like, so the main character, Rindo, he has this ability where he can go back in time. And it felt like a couple of times I was getting scared that it might feel like it was going to overstay its welcome, where it's like, okay, this is a day where we obviously have to replay the entire, like the day over, go through some dialogue choices again and do things differently because it's constrained by a narrative, like something will happen and then it'll be like, okay, we're obviously coming back to do something different in this section, but they do it infrequently enough in the story. Like in the story that it doesn't overplay its welcome, but also like at the point where I felt like it was going to start getting a bit too much, they did something really, really funny with it. And I'll put some slight spoilers here for people that do want to play it. Just double checking with you guys. You guys don't care if I say this, like a slight spoiler for the middle of the game?
I do
I'll
not.
be honest with you, Saif. Probably not.
I heard Patrick going, and then stopped.
What? No, I don't care. It must have cut out. I'm fine.
Okay, yeah. So for anyone that doesn't want to hear it, mute for like 30 seconds. In the middle of the game, there's like this one point where you go against the leader of the second week's main antagonist, and you're constantly replaying it, going, okay, he dies at this point, but he's having this conversation with another character, so I got to jump back a little ahead of time. Like I got to get here earlier. You get there a little bit earlier, you hear more of the conversation, he dies again. It's like, okay, got to get here a little earlier because I need to hear like this entire conversation, and you repeat that like 3 or 4 times. And it's like, okay, we need, when you first get there, you're like, okay, we're going to do this because we're saving him. But then by the time you get the full context of the conversation, you're like, no, fuck this guy. He deserves death. We're not going to jump in and save him. We're just going to let him die. So it ended up being like this really funny event of watching this one guy die over and over again like 5 times as he was as it was becoming more clear that he's a fuckwit.
Hey, you know what? Doesn't matter. I'm trying to. I still don't think I completely understand. Like, if there's like a time loop mechanic in this game, can you confirm or deny that?
No, there's no actual time mechanic. Like I said, the days are like chapters. Like everything's like laid out. It's a story that's being done in sequence. So
it's because the same people are dying. I'm just get confused. It's not in front of me, so I can't see it.
No, it's like you just go through the story beats and then, okay, day over. Then you go through, like, on the days where it's like, okay, got to replay. It's like, go through story beats. Oh no, something bad happens. The main character restarts time back to the beginning of the day and redoes
So
all
it is a
those
restart
story beats.
mechanic.
No, it's a story restart. Like you hit a point of the story, and it's like, oh hey, things got fucked up. I'm going to go back in time. Not you, the player, do not get to choose to go back in time.
I think
the main character chooses to go back in time.
Yeah, no, okay, I'm with you. No, I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I'm with you. No, sorry, I thought it. You know what? Doesn't matter what I thought. I was mistaken. I kneel.
But yeah, no. I badly talked about this for the past 14, 15 minutes. It's a very good game. Like, there's a demo, so trust me. Go try out the demo. And then trust me even more. This game gets dirt cheap every like sale. So. Buy it. Support this game. Force them to make a third game in another 15 years.
Do I have to play the first game?
That is all I ask. The story will hit better if you played the first game, but you do not need to play the first game.
All right on. Maybe I will get it. I've heard very good things about the first one, especially in terms of the soundtrack. But
and the second one, no one bought.
Yeah, well.
It was barely marketed. Like their way of marketing the second one was, hey, we've done an anime adaptation of the first one, and by the time this anime adaptation ends, the second one is launching.
Oh yeah,
but that's a very Japan-centric marketing method, because the Western version of the anime was put on a delay.
Highly rated.
Yeah,
82 on Metacritic.
Voice acting as well, like going back to that voice acting point, voice acting is really well done. Like it's a bunch of these voice actors' first time, and they do a phenomenal job. Like one of the main characters, Nagi, she's clearly a Fujo character. She's a college-age girl.
Don't know what that is.
She's a college-age girl that really admires like this one character from this mobile game she's playing. That's to the point that she's basically swooning over him every single chance she gets. And the voice actress just nails that role perfectly, in like a very funny way, not a cringe way. Like you'd expect like this otaku girl to be like the cringy character of the game, but she's done really well. Like she's funny in the right moments, she's serious in the right moments, and yeah, it's very surprising to see that they didn't just go with the stereotype when they could have.
I don't think you know, it doesn't matter. I googled Fujo and I still don't think I get it. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
You might need to Google Fujo Rule 34 to make sure that you get the up-to-date info.
Yeah, maybe I should. I don't know. There's a Hawk Tour in their joke. I'm just scared to make it.
Fuck's sake.
Google that thing.
No, not doing that. You good, Saif?
Yeah, I'm good. Right,
Sweet.
score. Like this is like, I want to say a 9 out of 10. I really highly rated. I really enjoyed my time with this, and every element about it was like really hitting for me. Like it was just hard to get my thoughts wrapped around this because A, I should have written notes for this, and B, it was like it was a surprisingly bigger game than I was expecting, and there's just a lot going on inside it. Like it's a very story heavy game.
I see. Oh well. Good to hear, I guess. Yeah, and hopefully they do in fact come out with a third one in another 10 years.
It's all I hope for. Actually, slight end point. The developer of this, Hand, I want them to make a version of this game, like a budget Kingdom Hearts game, like something that aims low and just continues Kingdom Hearts like as a franchise while Kingdom Hearts 4 stays in development hell, because that would be nice. And they've done Kingdom Hearts before. They did the DS games. Just throwing that one out there, so it's out in the void of this podcast.
And now it's canonically going to come true. But what shouldn't have canonically come true, but we're going to talk about briefly, is the Borderlands movie. What a segue! He's done it again. What to say about this?
Cinema slop.
Did you enjoy this as a fan?
It was a hard watch as a fan. I don't think I'm going to say much that hasn't already been said about this. I guess just
yeah, that's how I felt coming into it last week.
Yeah, being a super fan and watching it, it's difficult because it seems like the only way we could get to this position is if they saw everything that had already existed, like Borderlands lore-wise, and they just went, why don't we just ignored all of that and then did our own thing? And I don't mean that as like a snobbish, like, actually this isn't true and this isn't true and this isn't true, because like I don't care, make your own story, that's fine. But the story that they made just misses on like every front, when the story of, I mean, hell, like Borderlands 2 is just the easy one to pull on, where they had like most of the same elements as Borderlands 2 and they just went, what if we just removed all of the story from the middle of it though?
I can't remember if I said this last time.
I don't know why.
This isn't a Borderlands movie. This is a generic movie with Borderlands elements stapled onto it, which is what makes those sort of like Borderlands lore bits feel so off.
Yeah.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Like, what do you mean by like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like the film or the game? Or what do you mean by Guardians of the Galaxy?
What? It's a Guardian, like, how Guardians of the Galaxy, like, you got to assemble a crew, type of like,
that was a good movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've heard that like it feels like it's trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but it just
I see what you mean.
Yeah, sorry, I made a comment under my breath and I got called out on.
You just fucking toss out Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, are you saying it's good or it's bad? Like, what do you mean? It's okay. It's stuff like, right, when you first launch. Okay, admittedly, this is stretching back a wee ways now because I cannot for the life of me remember Borderlands 1 in terms of the intricacies of it. I remember like the cliff notes of the plot, but I don't think there was a huge amount of plot in there. It was just find the vault. But Borderlands 2 opens with Marcus giving a narration of, so you want to hear a story, and then just on it goes.
Fantastic.
Oh, right. Also, yeah, Marcus was like the one character that felt like he was actually from the game, I want to mention.
Yes. However, they decided to do, I'm going to say, the more movie tropey thing of having Lilith do the voiceover and therefore introduce Lilith. And even something like that, like, the people that made this film must know that Marcus does the voiceover. And that's an iconic part of him talking through bits of the story and the sort of expositional dump at the start. That some producer decided, you know what, let's just have Cate Blanchett do it. And then, like, it's not a bad way to introduce Lilith, that's fine. But there's no... It's just like, it's just empty. There's so much of this film is just like, I can't point at it and say why it's bad. I just point at it and go, why? Like, there's moments, maybe this is me just latching onto the wrong things, but there's an image, they did not do Kevin Hart any justice with the camera angles. There's him where he's like slightly, where he's just at a particular angle next to Kate, and it's him trying to stare Kate down, like Roland trying to stare Lilith down, and it's just funny because Kevin's so obviously staring up, and I think if it was someone like Dwayne or just any bigger imposing figure, that specific frame would work way better. But it's just funny that it's Kevin Hart trying to do it, and again, why? Or there's. How hung up did you get on the like Lilith becoming the Firehawk plot, Seth?
I wasn't that hung up on it. It's like, I'm pretty sure like the Firehawk is like a tree for her or something like that. It's like, it's just kind of like they took an element from the game and made it a bigger deal than it actually is in the game story. And it's like, yeah, no, it's whatever. It's just like a Hollywood thing.
Yeah, but the bit that I thought was even funnier was that they try to shoehorn in like sad Lilith backstory of, man, Lilith didn't really know her mom. It's really sad. But the context of how it plays out is so funny, of Lilith as a, I'm going to do Cate Blanchett a terrible disservice here. I'm pretty sure she's in her 50s, but I actually don't know her age.
She's older than what you think she is, yeah.
Okay.
Cate Blanchett. You keep talking, I'll fact check you.
I'm pretty sure she's like 55, I want to say.
Ooh, good, yeah, 55. Born on the 14th of May, 1969.
And,
that's right, she was in that Thor movie.
Played by Jamie Lee Curtis. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is like, must be 65 at least. Probably maybe, I don't want to say pushing 70.
What do you reckon? What do you reckon? Hang on, sorry. Yeah, because I made that sound. She's only 10 years older.
Yeah, and so Exactly. And so I'm not saying it's based on their ages, but what's really funny is that the writers clearly wanted to make a specific point of like, Lilith has this tragic backstory where she got abandoned by her mum and got taken to Pandora and then raised. But it's playing out in the context of this 55-year-old bounty hunter who up until then has shown very little emotion at anything, then having this weird flashback with Tannis, who does appear older than Lilith, but not by a huge amount. And they have this weird flashback moment of just anytime Lilith's mum's brought up, like Lilith is just gets like angsty teen, but it's really funny seeing a mid-50s woman just becoming angsty teen about something that, you know, everyone has different experiences. I'm not saying that it's out of place, but it doesn't feel in place in the context of what Lilith, the character, is trying to be. And so then they try and do this big like, she's actually the Firehawk because here's this flashback. But it just falls on its face as trying to play this out. It's really, I got like wrapped up watching that, just going like, what were they going for here?
And the flashback thing was also like, it was actually a big misunderstanding. Her mum actually loved her and didn't abandon her for vault hunting. She actually gave up her life to protect her because her mother believed that Lilith was the Firehawk because she was born with red hair.
Yeah. And all of this is playing out in like a 10-second flashback. And you're like, what the fuck?
And then Jack Black comes in and ruins the moment by going, oh, wait, I was asleep for all of that. Did something important happen?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
God damn it. It's a
Sorry,
weird
that's mean to Jack Black. They just made the Claptrap more annoying than he ever has been in that movie.
It's a really... I'm trying to think of how to phrase this delicately. Claptrap in the games is annoying. Claptrap in the games gets his shit kicked in, and it's funny because he's the annoying thing that kind of gets what's coming to him. Claptrap in the movies is just an eager Jack Black, and it's really hard to split. This is annoying, but is this annoying because it's not like Claptrap the game? Or is it annoying, in which case it's actually working because I'm getting annoyed by it? In which case the character's actually working, but I don't think it is because it's annoying. Do you know what I mean? It's like when you hate the villain, it's because the villain's played really well type thing. I hate Claptrap, but I don't know if it's because Claptrap's played that well. It's really hard to critique Claptrap. Jack Black did the best that I think Jack Black could have done with what Jack Black had to do as Claptrap. I will say that.
We know he has voice acting chops because he does a phenomenal Bowser.
Correct. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And there's
voice acting's never bad. There's just bad direction type of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many just moments of like, why?
It's just a dialogue and the parts he's written to talk in that makes him annoying.
Yeah, it's and it felt like such a Star Wars ripoff when it's like, I wonder who programmed Claptrap 36 years ago.
Oh yeah, no, I totally forgot part of that flashback was Claptrap falls over and it's like a Star Wars hologram of the mother just leaving a message. It's like, save me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's like literally playing out that way, yeah.
Yeah, it was literally, I just remembered, it was literally the joke being made as I was watching it.
Oh, it's frustrating because as it like, this is where I almost need someone to pull me back in, because if I was in Eli Roth's position, do I think I could make a better film? No, because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, and there's budgets, and it was delayed and reshoots and everything else. It was a bit of a shit show, 100%. However, when you look at this compared to the Last of Us show, compared to the Fallout show, compared to, I'm trying to think of any video game movie, and all I'm thinking of is Monster Hunter, which is not a good example.
Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Sonic the Hedgehog, those films also do well. There are so many bits that you can see in the film where you're like, this is like the game. And there were a couple moments where it was clear this is like the game, which were cool. There's moments like Lilith uses an infinity pistol. I've used that gun in the game. That's a cool little nod. There are moments like some of the Pandora background imagery is very reminiscent of the dust. Like just a very iconic, I mean, to be honest, Pandora is just a fucking barren wasteland. But there's moments like that where you're like, yeah, I can see that this is the part where it's kind of related to how the game goes. but then there's so much of it that, as you say, doesn't feel Borderlandsy. And the hardest part, I think fundamentally what it comes down to for me is that there are so many moments that I've had from playing these games that are hyper stylized, actually hyper stylized is probably just as far as it needs to go, that are hyper stylized that you know you're watching or playing or experiencing something in the Borderlands universe that they could have just put into the film for, I think, fairly low effort on top of what's already in there. And I don't know whether it's that they wanted to and couldn't, or that they didn't think they needed to. And if it's the first one, I sympathize. Shit happens, have to get something out, fine. But it's like every other thing that comes out that flops when I'm so curious to know what is, like, somehow show me or tell me about the thing that you wanted to make and how different or similar it is to the thing that we got. Because I kind of refuse to believe that people that were fans of the Borderlands, like, I don't know, franchise, working on this film, just work on it and don't think some of the same things that I think about. Why did we not lean into this more? Why did we not lean into that more? And it occurred to me during a couple of the fight scenes that, I mean, Roland is just kind of like one-tapping bandits with like a shitty pistol that if you're a high enough level, you can one-tap a bandit and they explode. But this is like, you don't even see a bullet and there's no blood. So it's just a gun goes off and then someone falls over.
Also, they give him like the Hollywood tragic hero send-off moment, and it just
then
does not
undercut it
work.
immediately. Yeah, there's so many moments where it's just like, why? And I know that I'm forgetting his name, the guy that did Chernobyl, and Craig Mazin. And I know that Craig Mazin initially penned the screenplay for this. I don't know if it ever got released as to what the original screenplay was, but God, I'm curious now after having seen.
That's got to leak
film
at some point, because I've heard people say that that original screenplay is what got a lot of these big name actors on board.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just rehashing the same bits that people have already talked about, but it's sad as a super fan. Yeah, what it comes down to for me, it's sad as a super fan that the hyper stylization of things like character introductions with a splash screen and a tagline, just like, I don't know. You would think if anything screams Borderlands, that and a shit ton of guns, and you're like 80% of the way there. And instead we get a film that doesn't have any hyper stylization beyond, it's set in like a shitty barren wasteland. And to be fair, the runner prop, or I'm really bad with detecting CGI. I'm sure a lot of it was CGI'd, but the runner that they were in at least looked pretty good compared to the game, so, props to them for that. But very little emphasis on all the things that I think of that make Borderlands, and it just, again, comes back to why. It's an R18 game, or at least it's at least R16. I don't know if the later ones are R18 or not. Tiny Tina's might not be R18. But
I think they're all MA15
it's a restricted
plus.
game. It's a restricted game for the violence, for the gore, for all of these mature themes. And we get this kidified, unstylized slop. And yeah, I need to know what the initial vision of this was like, because it's tough. It's like when you have so many people talking about like the height of Borderlands was Borderlands 2. I think everyone agrees on that.
Yep,
and then
100%. There is universally agreed upon statement.
Yeah, and then you have people talking about like, oh, you're a Borderlands fan. I never really got into those games because the third one just didn't really do it for me. And you're like, no, but you have to play the second one. The second one's so good. And it feels like that battle is already hard enough that you're like, no, just go back and play the game that came out 12 years ago. That's the good one. Ignore the other ones. That's the good one. Go play the one 12 years ago. And now this film comes out, and it makes that climb even harder of like, please just hear me out. I'm a Borderlands fan, but not because of the movie. Ignore the movie. Ignore the third game. Play Tiny Tina's if you want. It's kind of cool, but like play Borderlands 2. All they had to do was do bits of the story from Borderlands 2. Why? Why was this such a miss? Anyway, I'm done. I'm sad, both as a fan and just someone that put it on the second screen while doing other things, and I was checking how long there was left. So rarely do I do that with things on my second screen, and I was counting
That's very
the minutes.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, you just gotta shut it down, man. Like
I thought
No,
about
we
it.
finish things and we start here.
That's the thing. I got
we
the
finish
first
games.
time
You don't finish movies.
All right. Last. Actually, Seth, I'll give you a chance to add anything, and then I'll do a last poll, and then we'll wrap it.
I still think, like I mentioned it last time, but I still think it's incredibly funny that they did the whole fireworks sequence at the end to show the Firebird logo, just so that when they announced Borderlands 4 at the Game Awards, they would open on that Firehawk logo to go, hey, look, it's that thing from the movie. You liked that, right?
Fuck, and you know what that just reminded me of? The fact that they do that Firehawk logo at the end of Borderlands 3 when Lilith sacrifices herself. Sorry for the spoiler, it's a fucking 8-year-old game. But that we're now left with Ava, which I think I brought up last week as well, but like...
Hate Ava.
Now I'm double sad. No, the thing that I was going to say... Okay, number one, the video game movie that I was trying to think of, Super Mario Brothers. Cannot believe that I struggled with that. Did that... I think I've already asked this. Did that come out this year or last year?
Last year.
Last year.
Okay. I thought it was last year.
Great movie.
Time is a blur. That was
a social construct.
Right. Last thing. I checked this. I checked how long I was through the film before the movie ended. Did it several times. Rough guesses how far through, like percent-wise, I was through the movie when I first checked how long I had left.
Probably like 3 minutes in.
Percent-wise?
Yeah, how far through the movie?
50%
50% of the way through, 75% of the way through, 25% of the way through. Just broad numbers. Think of it
I'm
like
going to
the
guess like
Steamcharts for this week.
20%.
20%? Okay.
I'd say 21%.
21%. Steve is the
21
closest
and a
without
half.
going over. Ooh.
No,
Ooh,
too late. You guess. Fuck
do,
you.
do I hear 22? Do I hear 22?
You hear 30.
Yeah, no, it was about a third of the way through when I went, okay, where are we at with this? 35 something, 35 to 40%. It was less than half.
Yeah, that's...
And how many times after that did you keep checking it?
Several.
Every 5 minutes. It's done yet? That's really a way. Like, if you watch that... Imagine, like, watching that movie while you're on, like, the treadmill. Like, time pretty much stands still.
Oh, God.
Oh, Christ. But look, oh, well, you watched it.
I did.
You didn't pay for it.
Hang on. Allegedly.
Sorry?
Pay for all your time, which is more important than money.
Yeah. I
I say that.
I don't think I regret watching it, but I also would struggle to recommend this to anyone to watch.
Would you watch it again?
Not willingly.
I'd rather watch Dragon Ball Evolution again than watch Borderlands again.
I think Dragon Ball Evolution has gotten to that point where we forgot how bad it was. I reckon if you went back and watched that, you'd kill yourself.
I watched it... Last time I watched it was actually like 10 years ago.
Yeah. When did it come out?
Like 2007? 2008?
No, it wasn't fucking 2000. Really? Hang on, I'm Googling it now.
I'm going to guess 2008.
2009. Yeah, you both going to the gulag. 2.5 out of 10. Now that's a fucking movie. That's a
fucking Goku movie. Flying up as he fires off a Kamehameha.
Final thing I'll say. Gearbox, please re-release Borderlands. I'll watch it in cinemas. I was just really busy that week. When you first put it out, please do a second theatrical release.
There's a lot of empty slots in the cinemas right now where they could do it. I mean, Joker 2 isn't doing so hot.
Holy fuck!
What's that other movie that's not doing so hot right now? Megalopolis.
Megapolis.
I don't even think I've heard of this film.
It's that one that is it Scorsese, the guy that did The Godfather. He's making this movie since like the 80s, and apparently like
not Scorsese, but it's the person that did the third Godfather movie.
All the Godfathers made by the same guy, aren't they? The Godfather movies. I thought they were all the same guy. Yeah, Francis Coppola. I don't know. Can we move on?
We shall.
The last point I want to make, going back to Dragon Ball Evolution again, just because it's a fun fact. The person that played King Piccolo in that, James Masters, did end up going on to be in actual Dragon Ball Super proper and doing a phenomenal job there. Yeah, he plays Zamasu.
Really? Holy shit. No,
and another fun fact, they took one of his lines as King Piccolo from the movie and put it into gave it to Zamasu in Sparking Zero.
Oh yeah, I think that's what I've been going around that.
We've spent 22 minutes talking about Borderlands, and the only thing fun have been 2 facts about Dragon Ball Evolution.
Maybe we should
far
go back
we've
and watch
come.
that. Anyway, and that brings us to the end of Round the Lounge.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're trying to steal my job? You coming for my thunder?
Coming for your tours?
Are you the Borderlands movie to my Borderlands 2?
What a sad thing to say.
You're right. I'm sorry. That was a bit low even for me. Anyway, and with that, we come to the end of Round the Lounge for this week. Thank you to you both, as always.
Did you guys eat your apple
Don't worry,
cores?
Steve. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, knew there had to be something that I tried to preemptively cut off. Didn't think it would be as dumb as asking if we eat apple cores, but that's on me. We get to
Sounds like a true apple core enjoyer.
News. Well, I might enjoy eating apple cores, but do you enjoy watching the Like a Dragon Yakuza official trailer from Prime Video, Steve?
I literally cannot wait. I'll be honest with you, fellas. I cannot wait. I maybe because I just played Yakuza Like a Dragon, but I think that the guy playing Kiryu is too small. But I think I might just be brainwashed by the size of the characters.
Game making him the ultimate Giga Chad.
Yeah, like literally like 2% body fat, probably 80 kilos of solid muscle, 6'4". Like the guy seems small, but realistically, it's probably realistic.
Blue Eyes Trust Fund works in finance.
I do like that song. I'll give you that. But yeah, no, very excited about it. Like, when's it coming out? It's got to be like today.
It's very soon, I think.
End of the month, I think. 28th.
October 24th.
24th.
October 24th.
What day is that? Is that a recording day? It's a Thursday.
Anymore, it's not.
It's a Thursday after a recording day.
I have to do a special live reaction video. But yeah, no, this trailer did a lot of like the kind of backstory onto like Kiryu and how he wants to be a dragon, like a dragon. It's in the title. So yeah, like it kind of, I'm still very interested to see where this goes. It obviously is differentiating from the video games. It's not a retelling. They've said that. I've said that. But fucking so excited.
I'm not sure how I feel about it myself because it's not like I'm against it because it's not retelling the video games. It's more the tone seems way darker than I expect for the Yakuza series.
I think it's
I don't know how that's going to play out.
The games
because
the
games, even when they're doing the serious story, is just like a normal drama story. Like it's soap opera-y. This is going for like a dark drama movie sort of vibe, and I don't know how I feel about that. I'm still going to check it out and give like a fair shake, but I'm not super keen on it. But it looks like it'll be fine for what it's doing itself.
You know what? TV show. Don't forget that the new season of Bleach came out this week, friends. I watched it yesterday. Very good.
The third part to the 1,000-Year Blood War. How many parts do they want?
I think this is the last one.
But yeah, I said what I needed to say about that.
Have you said what you wanted to say, Steve?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, good.
Actually, one more. No, I'm joking.
Well, knew it. Well, we have to move on. Saif, you have a note here. It says, "Pretty please let me talk about a bunch of articles real quick." You want to just run through them?
Yep. As usual, bringing everyone into my little FGC corner as I run through a bunch of things no one else but me cares about.
I don't think you can say that word.
Yes, I can. Watch me, FGC.
Carry on. I'm too scared to correct you.
First up, Hunter x Hunter Nen X Impact has been delayed to 2025.
I don't think you said that title right.
You could not have gotten it more wrong.
The reason is they delayed it so they can add rollback netcode, which is, you know what? Fine, go for it. Absolutely good decision. I will wait so that when I can play this game online, it feels good to play online. Second up, Queen Dizzy is being added to Guilty Gear Strive on Halloween. That's all there is for that one. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves announced 2 DLC characters, and they're going to be Ken and Chun-Li from the Street Fighter series, continuing the current session we have of SNK and Capcom just full-on mouth and tongue kissing each other right now. we already have Terry in Street Fighter 6. Mai is coming a little later, and Capcom is going to be re-releasing the CVS games next year. So this is just kind of continuing their goodwill with each other, and Ken and Chun-Li are absolutely the correct characters to do for this. A lot of people were like, "Oh, hey, why not Ryu?" Ken bounces off Terry way better than Ryu bounces off Terry. If they did Ryu, it would need to be for King of Fighters, where he's going against Kyo Kusanagi. And then the last one, Venus Vacation Prism Dead or Alive Extreme is announced for PS5, PS4, and PC. This is here just to go, hey, a new Dead or Alive game is coming out, but it's not a fighting game. They're doing one of their
It's a beach volleyball game.
I don't think this is even a beach volleyball game. I think this is like based on the mobile swoon over a girl on a beach paradise game, and that is very upsetting.
I hate that that's a genre.
This is very upsetting. Please, Team Ninja, make a new Dead or Alive fighting game. I beg you, do it. And that's it for the FGC corner.
Yeah, this is
interesting because
this
Slay the
is
Princess,
no good.
the Pristine Cut, sounds like a fighting game.
No, it's more of a visual novel.
Well, it'll be a visual novel that is available on October 24th. I know nothing about this. Is there anything interesting you want to hit as part of this?
Not really interesting that I know of. It's just Slay the Princess is a really good game.
It's not interesting.
like the article itself. But no, Slay the Princess is a really good game. I played about half of it earlier this year, and I'm going to go through the second half now that it's Spooky Month.
Well, did you slay the princess or not?
I did in one of the paths, and then in another path she became an eldritch horror.
Look, we've all been there.
But
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a really, really interesting and cool game. So it's nice that this is just a chance for me to go, hey, it's getting updated. People should check it out because it's kind of undervalued right now.
Steve hitting Seth with the "That's rough, buddy."
We'll get him next time.
Yeah, interesting. Next, Atelier. Fuck, there's so many vowels. Resident Evil.
I don't know.
Would you like me to take a crack at it?
I've got it. Atelier Riesling Castlevania, The Red Alchemist, and The White Guardian announced for a bunch of platforms.
Yeah, this one.
What the fuck is this?
This one's a little sadder. We had the oh god, I'm already forgetting the name of the other one that was announced earlier this year, like a couple of months ago. But yeah, no, this is a second Atelier game that's been announced recently, coming out the same year, and this one's going to get ignored because I think this is a game being made from the assets for their mobile game that instantly flopped. So they're like, fuck, we need to use these assets to make a real game and try to make our money back.
Wahoo.
I just thought it would be funny to bring up that exact train of thought for that game. And the first one, the one that's actually important, is Atelier Yumiya. I keep wanting to say Yumika for some reason for that one, but there's no K.
Nope, just shit ton of vowels. You know, it doesn't have a shit ton of vowels. Spore only has 2 vowels and is crawling back to life. Everyone thought this game was dead.
It is dead.
It's not.
It's fucking dead. So everybody remembers Spore, the guy from notable industry meth head Peter Molyneux. He's
the guy that made Fable.
Oh, maybe is it? I thought there was. Or is this the guy?
One day, I wish someone on the other side of the world would refer to me as notable industry meth head.
He overpromises and underdelivers.
Yeah, he just says
just
things.
like me, for real.
No, it's Will Wright. It's Will Wright. It's the fucking SimCity guy.
Sims guy.
Sorry, yeah. Sorry,
he's getting his industry dickheads mixed up.
Yeah,
meth heads. Hang on.
Peter Molyneux passes you the pipe. It's Will Wright.
Dream blunt rotation.
Nightmare blunt rotation. Holy shit.
Peter Will in one of my Spore creations.
Yeah, he's promised you the best game in the entire world, and then he delivers you this. But yeah, so anyway, Spore came out in like...
He delivers Fable 3.
Fable 3 wasn't too bad. Anyway, so Spore came out in 2008, I believe. It's this weird kind of... I think he described it as a godlike game at the time, and you start as like a cell microorganism, and then you grow, and then you become a creature, and you can kind of mold your creature following through evolution. Then you have like a tribe, and then you've got a civilization, and then you've got intergalactic fights. I thought it was fun. 13-year-old Steve loved that game. Love, 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 love,
Oh yeah, I've
loved it.
painted the shit out of this.
Oh.
I had the official Prima strategy guide. I'll have you know.
Holy shit. I just look things up on the internet. Like a normal human being.
It's 2008. What internet?
What do you mean?
In 2008, I printed out a guide for Daxter for all the precursor orb locations. That was like 20 pages well spent.
Nice.
Holy shit, man, that would cost you a fortune. But yeah, no, anyway, so this game came out. I'm still disappointed with it from what they wanted to do, but they never did, but it is what it is. But they like revived, oh, sorry, they didn't revive, they made a Discord server for it. Because they previously had like a Spore forum type of thing and people just, I don't know, spread miscellaneous rumors or something there. Yeah. They use the Pokemon move Spore and from Amoonguss and it puts everyone to sleep. Get that honk shua on him. He fucking brought it back. He's so good at this. But they made a Discord server for it and everyone's like, huh? What does this mean? And this is, if you can't tell, this is activating a part of me that I thought was long dead. And I'm literally shaking.
Are you going to make a character that's just shaped like a letter?
What?
That was always fun. It's just like a in the distance there's like a herd of A's.
Oh yeah, so all the penis ones as well. It was so good having like the other people's creations into your game. And like some of them are like, okay, that's actually really cool. And other ones are like, that's God has abandoned us.
That's something I'd make.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Or I'd be like, oh cool, my one's standing on two legs. And you're trying to do the asymmetrical thing, but you have to get mods to do that. And
Yes. That's right. Yeah, and then everything's based around spice once you get to like Civ stage.
Yeah, the Civ stage, yeah. Man, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, Steve. 13-year-old 13-year-old me fiended this game, and then like, I don't know, 2010, 2011, once I started reading some of the interviews about what this game wanted to be. Oh.
It was supposed to have
Heartbreak.
that. Yeah, it was supposed to have like as you were forming life, it was supposed to be like a weird Tetris thing, and he was going to do like a middle thing between like the microorganism to like the aquatic organism. Whatever. What could have been? I get the feeling the more I read about what things that could have been in video games that happen at like the concept stage, and then like people that actually code the video game is like, that's not possible. Put down the pipe.
Yeah.
And as a fellow ideas man, I can appreciate that. But yeah,
the fellow code monkey, I also appreciate the, hey man, I don't know if you've gotten off that dream nightmare rotation with the letter A and that other industry method, but what you're asking for is literally impossible.
Yeah, we have a galactic supercomputer and it's not working. But yeah, and I think the more I read about the things that could have been, the more I get disappointed. So I try not to read that stuff anymore. But no, long story short, big tangent. We're so fucking back. Holy fucking shit, we're so fucking back.
We're so fucking back, but nothing has changed. It would be cool to revisit Spore though after all these years. I genuinely don't know how I'd play it. I have the disc somewhere at my parents' place, but I don't have any computer with a disc drive anymore.
I've got it. I bought it in 2016, I believe, through EA Origin.
Oh, this guy.
I do not know if I can.
That exists.
I think I also like a while ago I bought it for Steam as well. Hang on, let me see.
You probably bought it on Steam as an EA Origin key, because that's always how they get you.
Oh, fuck. That's a fucking point.
I've done that. Borderlands, Burnout Paradise is so cheap. You buy it and it's like, hey.
Yeah, I'm looking at my Steam.
Me?
Yeah, I'm looking at my Steam library and Spore's there. Spore, creepy and cute part. Playtime, 4 hours.
Yeah, the DLC.
Last played June 22, 2014.
10 years on.
You know what? It's getting an install.
Based. Love that for you. What I also love, Vampire Survivors dev opening a publishing arm and is not a fan of Web3 and free-to-play mobile games. Love to see this. Big
surprise, guy that makes things for money doesn't like free-to-play games.
Absolutely based.
How did you get that take so backwards, Steve? You must have had that one like in the back pocket to just fucking drop. Holy shit.
Nah, I kind of read this article like last week when it came out and I was like, it is what it is.
But yeah, very based. I'm assuming, given the just massive spree of survivor-like games that we've seen recently, that a lot of the publishing games will be around this stuff, but not 100% sure.
It'd be surprising to see what they do because, like, the Among Us devs
Among Us
are starting to publish a bunch of games, and none of them are like in the same vein of what Among Us is. It's like all over the place of different indies games. So this could be going for that same sort of vibe of just like, yeah, no, we just want to support other indies and like get them as much help as they need.
Yeah.
See,
which, I mean, cool to see.
Yeah, the only look, and Stephen having a Stephen take here. Vampire Survivors was out for like a while before it took off. Am I correct? So like, I think
yes,
I believe it was out for like 2 years before it really took off.
Yeah, like I'm not sure. Like obviously it's a smash out success. It's a very good game, but indies, and maybe this is why the more I talk, the more I'll kind of work myself into the right position. That like some indies,
famous last words.
Just like Among Us as well. Like some indie games come out and they're very good, but no one sees them because it's an oversaturated market at the moment. With people self-publishing or with like smaller dev teams and smaller publishers. Like it's like what's their like I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. I got lost. Sorry. What I'm trying to say is that some indies just happen regardless of whether they get published or not. Yeah, no, that didn't make any sense. Can we edit that out?
I sort of know what you mean though. It's almost like you sort of need a publisher regardless in today's day and age, unless you aren't focused on like unless it's a hobby project, basically any kind of like actual indie project, you sort of need a publishing.
Well, you don't even need a publisher. You just
resource.
need like some sort of like advertisement to break through. And it doesn't even. Sometimes advertising doesn't work. Like you just need to go viral in quotation marks. Remember that word? But it's yeah.
It could just be something as simple as, hey, we got this idea for a pitch. We don't have funding to make it work. Like, if we don't have like we have full-time jobs, so we're not able to make this a reality. And these guys are just like, yeah, no, here's a budget so you can leave your full-time job and make your game a reality.
Anything else to add to that, or are we good to move on?
I'm good to move on. Very happy they're doing this.
Yes, I agree. Steven, we good to move on?
Look, if you want to move on, I want to move on.
I do want to move on, so we're going to move on. We're moving on straight to Devolver Digital launching Big Fan Games, a new publishing label. This
Big Fan.
Almost in the same vein that we were literally just talking. Shut the fuck up. Just in the same vein that we were talking about it seems to be like trying to do a similar kind of vein of we have these big kind of franchises and licenses where you're an indie dev, you would never in a million years be able to earn enough money to like actually get one of these licenses properly. And so it seems like Big Fan is trying to step in as sort of an intermediary of taking on the licensing costs and then working possibly even with multiple indie studios under some sort of licensing agreement. So the
important note to add is that the Big Fan is just a branch of Devolver Digital, like it's a new label underneath them. So there's also kind of the idea that maybe this is happening so that if a license doesn't go well, it falls under Big Fan and doesn't have a knock-on effect on, oh hey, this ruined Devolver Digital's track record of releases.
Yeah, that's probably true too. I think that's basically all of the like meat of the article. Anything else to scrounge at from the bones of what's left?
No, not really.
Apparently, there's a few things in work already. In the pipeline already. Is the last thing I'll say on that.
Yeah, just to give a couple of names, not too many. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Evil Dead, John Wick, Power Rangers.
Dream blunt rotation.
Does every single Power Ranger have to individually smoke the blunt, or do they all do it at once? Like, do they share it in one big puff?
They form the like
form of stoner.
They form the Megazord, and then the Megazord smokes.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, right. That'd be a good one.
It's the one in the head that just gets absolutely lit the fuck up, and everyone else is just sober.
Do you think Zordon would be a great guy to have in the blunt rotation?
I don't know who that
You know,
is.
the floating head in a jar.
Oh, no. That sounds scary.
Just a floating head in a jar? Or the perfect bong?
Oh, hang on.
Hold on.
Let him puff.
Let him soak.
Let's hope.
We're going to puff pass straight on to the next article, though. Red Dead Redemption and Mario and Rabbids. It's funnier if I leave out the words, if I leave out leads as part of that headline. Just Red Dead Redemption and Mario and Rabbids establishing a new studio. No, some of the leads from Red Dead Redemption and Mario and Rabbids establishing a new studio. Day for Night, which is working on an entirely original game. That'll be interesting. Speaking of nightmare blunt rotations.
Happy to see another studio open to like work on more games and like just escape the big AAA areas. It's really funny it's just a really funny headline of like, yeah, no, one person from Red Dead Redemption and the guy that was the lead of Mario and Rabbids. Which, there was like an E3 presentation for Mario and Rabbids and they pointed out this guy and he had like a big heartfelt moment where he was crying because it was like a dream game for him. So I hope this goes well for him. He seems like a very nice person.
Just him. Hope it goes terribly for everyone else.
Everyone else involved with Mario and Rabbids deserves a guillotine.
And that includes the people working on Minions. We're just going to toss this one in here because I don't think it's part of the. Yeah, I don't think it's part of the docket, but I think it's interesting. Alien Isolation sequel in early development. Very, very interested in how this one goes. I will be totally honest. I'm too much of a bitch to play Alien Isolation.
I've heard very good things.
I have enjoyed watching other people play it.
This was a game I was interested in when it released, and I was poor, so I never bought it, and it just kind of passed me by. But it did always seem interesting.
Yeah, I have played some horror games. I do not know if I would be able to play, or at least finish, Alien Isolation. Very, very good horror game.
It seemed like one of the few Alien games that like got the series.
Yeah. Anyway, that's basically the only news. So, sequel in early development. Here's hoping it's not a free-to-play mobile game.
Or a random picture doesn't somehow siphon the budget into the next Borderlands.
Hang on. Let him Willie a voice actor.
You know what? Maybe that's the secret sauce for Borderlands. Borderlands 2 was so successful because they siphoned the budget from that Alien Marines game.
Yeah, Colonel Marines, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'll have to wait and see. Anyway, next we have Craft on these nuts. To develop a parallel mobile game. See, I always think of Craft and their mac and cheese on, but Craft On is apparently in the video game business as well. Video game publisher.
They own Hi-Fi Rush now.
That's right, they do. I keep forgetting that.
But yeah, their PUBG Studios is going to be making a Power World mobile game. Very interesting time to start that up when, you know, they're about to be in the middle of a lawsuit.
Who can say?
Yeah. Well, not really anything else to add to that one either, but just very interesting. Next up, Star Wars Outlaws coming to Steam because it kind of.
You mean coming to PC, right?
It's been on the Ubisoft launcher, hasn't it? I don't know. Is this a bit?
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, no. So this is the first time it's launching on PC, right?
Yeah, no, not funny.
Yeah. You fucking gaslit me into me thinking like, I swear to God, I've seen people play this on PC. What the fuck are you talking about then? It's a joke at Ubisoft's expense. Yeah.
It's not even on Epic. That's surprising.
That's totally not Epic, bro.
Are there many Ubisoft titles? I'm about to eat my words.
They
and you're about to give me
usually
a
launch
million.
on Epic first by a few months.
Ubisoft titles?
Yeah.
Well, by the time they launch on Steam, like you can get them for like 70% off. So that could be anywhere between a day after release or 4 years. Who knows?
Prince
true.
of Persia: The Lost Crown came out like January on Epic Game
shit.
Store, and then didn't come out on
Yes.
Steam until like July or August.
And everyone said it's a really good game, and everyone said, I can't wait to play it when it comes to PC.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. Good point. Yeah, I forgot about that. Anyway, Star Wars Outlaws, despite, what was it, one of the earnings calls from Ubisoft and everyone going, yeah, everyone loves Star Wars Outlaws. So it turns
It's all
out,
about 1 million units, which is terrible for a Ubisoft game this far out from release.
and of the size.
Yeah, I think it needed. I think it's one of those games that needed like 7 million to break even.
Yeah.
7 million.
And
is
Ubisoft
so
games don't-
high.
Ubisoft games don't usually have long tails. I believe like they either sell up front or they sell like when they first drop down like $20.
Yeah. So I buy all my Ubisoft games. Or when they come to Game Pass.
That's not buying. That's just playing on Game Pass.
Whatever. We'll take it.
Wow, I can't believe that came out August 30th. Feels like okay. I actually don't know if Outlaws feels like it's been out for longer than a month or less than a month.
I'd say longer.
just-
It's one of those games that
I
think the
you go.
advertising around it wasn't that good, and
Yes, that's the bit that I'm thinking of. Yeah, it feels like it's been out longer than a month because they had that initial gameplay footage that everyone memed on about 2 months ago.
yeah, and it was like when it was first revealed like a year ago, everyone was like whacking each other off about it. Then it kind of like
That's
the Star
true,
Wars,
yes.
the Star Wars franchise itself has been in a weird place. Like a lot more misses than hits.
Ubisoft has been in a weird place.
It was destined to never go good. And from what I've heard, it's like
No.
it's a very good Star Wars game. And if you love Star Wars, you'll love it. But if you're looking for like a good game, maybe keep jogging.
The thing I've heard is that it actually front loads all the worst part of the game, and once you get past like the beginning hours, it actually just gets fairly decent.
Yeah, okay.
Like
I've
the
heard-
beginning of the game gives the impression it's like a 5, but then once you break through a certain barrier, it becomes like a 7.
I've heard that it's a perfectly serviceable Ubisoft game. And that's like it's not a criticism of Ubisoft, but it's also not a compliment of Ubisoft. It's an Ubisoft game.
I also want to give like a quick idea of how poorly this went. Back in January and February, we had back-to-back releases of Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Infinite Wealth. Sorry, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Persona 3 Reload, and Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. All 3 major RPGs that have like overlapping fan bases. Each one of them sold like 1 million within a week.
Yeesh.
So Star Wars releasing in an empty period and only getting 1 million after a month is pretty bad.
Yeah. And that's I don't know how they calculate sales figures, but that's also not 1 million after a month. That's 1 million including the pre-order like rounds as well.
Yeah. Like
I'm
it
assuming.
was like 1 million total by a certain point, so that would include like everyone that had bought it up to that point.
I guess it doesn't really change the numbers actually. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Sad to see. Obviously, you never really. I hope no one ever wants like a studio to fail for the sake of a studio failing. But God,
It's like a bad behavior.
get like one fucking win at the moment.
They really need to. I don't know. Like everyone's like having that big where Assassin's Creed Shadows make you play as a black guy. Yeah, where. That's not a fucking criticism of the game. The game's not out yet. It's fucking insane. And they had delayed that game until 2025. Did they delay it because of the controversy around it and because of the grifters? Or did they delay it because the game was a dog shit and they really need to redo it? Who knows?
I saw that gameplay and I thought the gameplay looks like shit, so I'm glad they postponed it to hopefully make the combat look better.
But does it
Apparently a
look
bunch
like
of the
shit? Or
devs-
does it look like shit, or does it look like a Ubisoft game? Like it's half a dozen of one,
All
six
the
of the
Assassin's
other.
Creed games had better impacts to their combat than this did.
Those don't exist. It's been 10 years, man. Those aren't real. Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed died with Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
You say that, but Star Wars had a bug in it that was from Assassin's Creed Unity, which was a 10-year-old game. I don't know how they did it, but they replicated 10-year-old glitches in a new game.
Love that. That's the brilliant diamond shining
I'm
pearl.
shining pearl. Yeah, I
with the
took
same
the words out
bugs.
of my mouth. Yeah. Look, if you use the same code, you can save on costs.
Yeah. Let's just Control C, Control V that bad boy, and get something out to the gamers.
We want video games.
Yeah, very funny.
Bethesda moment.
Not on a. Yeah, I was just thinking that it's not a Chromecast moment, but I've definitely seen multiple videos of people going like, "Hey, making video games is hard, but also, what the fuck is this, Ubisoft?" And just janky interactions that you assume any amount of playtesting would have found out before the game released, but is what it is. Anyway, I think we've sort of randomly shuffled across a bunch of things. Should we jump to... Actually, we're sort of in the Ubisoft corner anyway. We want to continue harping on the delay for Assassin's Creed Shadows. I was going to say that there was internal stuff from a bunch of the devs saying, hey, we really need more time on this. And so, on one hand, it's good that upper management finally listened. That apparently they've been asking for a delay for weeks, if not months, saying that, hey, it's just not going to be ready for the timeline that people want it to be out at. So,
which is good. Listen to the developers if they're begging for more time. So you can't just crunch this out.
Sure, but, right? Big but, cannot lie. Like other games that have had delays, 3 months... I can't think of a game that's had a 3-month polishing window that's made a meaningful difference to it, to how it's released. I might just be thinking of scapegoating Suicide Squad Killer Justice League here, because that was the really easy one.
That was rotten to the core, though.
Yeah, sure. But, like, 3 months in the... this is a game that's probably been in development for, what, like 5 years? 4 years, 5 years? 3 months on the tail end of a project that big with this many people working on it doesn't seem like a lot of time in the grand scheme of things. If it goes well after 3 months, awesome. 100% really want the game to go well. I'm just nervous that everyone's saying, 3 months, polish it up. I don't know if 3 months is going to be long enough. If the devs are crying for 3 months, if the game got delayed by 3 months, devs were probably crying for 4 or 5 months neading extra time. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know.
Totally get that. It's just like, I just come through with it with the optimist side of like any amount of time is good for it. Like 3 months probably isn't as much as they need, but 3 months is better than nothing. True.
Definitely true. Yeah.
Also worth noting is that they're also saying like with this is going to mark them going, Ubisoft games are going to start releasing on Steam day one again with the other releases, which good. They need that. And
it all comes back
they also
to
said
gaming.
the first expansion is going to be for free because of this delay.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's going to be... that's... Okay. One hand.
Oh, sorry.
Cool.
All pre-order stuff will be granted the first... Everyone's been refunded the game as of this point, and if you start buying the game now, your pre-order reward is getting the first expansion for free.
Okay. I think that's an Ubisoft W, but that's also going to be a massive hit to Ubisoft.
Yeah, it says they're also getting rid of the Season Pass model for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
There was going to be a Season Pass? In all of the thinly veiled racism, I completely must have missed the idea that they were adding a Season Pass to what I assumed was a single-player game.
All their games have season passes at this point, I think.
Do they? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I played an Assassin's Creed, so I'm just out of the loop.
I don't think they're ever anything substantial. It's like a bunch of side missions that don't really add a lot to the story.
I think it was Assassin's Creed Origins, which is the last one that I played, that had like a really good side quest. Like the DLC content was just like the Egyptian mythos type of one, and that was pretty cool. Like I think the final boss is against Horus, I think. Like it was very different, didn't really matter that much, very little content added, but it was still like neat. I think I got like the gold edition included.
Horus, the Egyptian god?
Pretty much, yes. Life of the Sky Dragon was there. It was time to duel.
Okay. Side point, because I don't want to spend too much time on this because there's already the fucking shitstorm that is people talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows, but holy shit, is it funny talking about how good or bad the historical accuracy of an Assassin's Creed game is when, need I remind people, Assassin's Creed 2 had you fist fighting the Pope with Leonardo da Vinci. I was about to say DiCaprio. That would have been Even better, actually. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, like aliens existing in which one was that one?
That was
the
it,
first
like
one.
just throughout the series. It started with one, but I think two confirms they were aliens.
But you get my point, right? It's such a weird hill to die on, being like, man, I really want this game set in an entirely fictitious like story in the future that harps back to pieces of like old-timey roots with your favorite historical figures there. I need this to be as accurate as possible, or so help me God.
The thing I learned a long time ago is that a lot of people really did not give a shit about the Assassin's Creed stories and were just there for, like, the historical playground of the series. Like, they didn't care about the story with the Apple of Eden or the modern-day storylines. They were like, hey, I get to run around Florence and meet Leonardo da Vinci.
And it's been, what, 10, 15 years since we've done that?
Yeah, it's a long time since we've done that.
Actually, what? Assassin's Creed 1, 2008, Assassin's Creed 2, 2010? No, Assassin's Creed 1, 2007, Assassin's Creed 2, 2009? That sounds better. 2009, 2010?
I think so, and Assassin's Creed 3 would have been... Yeah, Assassin's Creed 3 was 2012, because it was 3 years later, and their modern-day storyline was 2012 is the end of the world.
And it was, the trailer was Radioactive by Imagine Dragons, which came out in 2012.
That is also another way to remember it.
Hey, that was the first taste of Imagine Dragons I got. It was just every TV ad was, what's his name, running through the frontier.
Connor?
That's him. That's him, officer. Yeah.
You might want to retract that one.
Yeah.
You know what? I did take that one back. That's the normal bit that I run of that's him, officer, that's him right there. It's different when it's yeah, there's a bit of context on that one actually. Anyway, moving past where all this shit went to. Point is, I think people that complain about the historical accuracy of a video game that I don't think I don't know. If I say that it doesn't care about its historical accuracy, it's probably doing a disservice to the people that wanted it to be historically accurate. But I guess I don't.
The settings themselves were, but the stories weren't, and people were really were way more interested in the settings.
But again, I don't know. It's just like maybe it's just a fundamental people thing of just like rah, I hate this game. Okay, so don't play it.
But no, I want every game to appeal to me, a straight white man.
What's step 2 of the plan, you know? Like I get there's the site like I get there's the Battlefield, what was it, Battlefield 5 that was like, hey, we want to do like a World War One or World War Two thing, and we've got these resistance fighters that are completely out of context and have like fake limbs with technology that just simply didn't exist back then, and we're trying to ground it in some kind of historical accuracy. And people meme on it for that. Fine. And then it flops, and people come out and say, man, it's because everyone like hates women. You're like, okay, that's probably not. Like, I understand people memeing the backlash, but I guess I just don't I don't get if you don't like something that you then feel obligated to like make a point of saying, well, if it appealed to me, then I would have played it, and that's why it flopped.
Do I need to bring up the Modern Warfare 2 group of the Steam group of people going boycott Modern Warfare 2, and then 90% of the people are playing Modern Warfare 2?
That's really funny.
Well, it's the same people that are like, oh, like if you don't like my product, don't shop there. But at the same time, they cry that it's like, oh, every product should be catering to me. It's like, okay, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. It's like, oh no, that's bad business. You can't say that. It's like you've been dogpiling on the game for so long. Like, fuck off. Like. And it's not for you, like whatever. Can we move on? I hate this fucking discussion.
Yeah. It's the last thing I'll say, because this is, I guess, gaming adjacent. But have you guys heard about the what's happening with Commander in Magic the Gathering?
They've like made things forbidden, but that whole idea of Commander was not to make things forbidden or something. I don't really get it. I don't play Magic the Gathering.
I am not in on the community enough to know, but the cliff notes that I got, just because it feels very similar, is there's a group of 5 volunteers that run the like commander rule set and decide what cards. Apparently, other cards have been banned in the past. Like I don't know if it's a big deal or not. But what happened in this recent time? They came out and they said, "Hey, we think the game would be more fun if we banned these 4 cards." And overnight, it created the value of those 4 cards. And so therefore, everyone that owned those cards went, "What the fuck? This card is now worthless." And therefore, I hate the idea that you've banned this card. This card that was worth $180 is now worth like $30 or something, like probably US dollars. I'm going to voice my disapproval of this. And because it's 5 volunteers running this rule set, one of them happened to be a woman who basically just got inundated with death threats from people that don't shower, to the point where they relinquished, like the rule committee relinquished power of governing commander to Wizards of the Coast. And so now a whole bunch of the Magic community is like, well, shit, this isn't what we wanted. Because Wizards of the Coast is about to go Wizards of the Coast on the format that everyone knows and loves. And I can't help but feel the same sort of thing, because we're going to talk about like how shitty Ubisoft is doing financially at the moment. That so I bet you there'll be so many people that if Ubisoft does have to sell up or go private, or there's some other kind of consequence for the company, the same mentality of this is what happens if you put some weird historical inaccuracy in medieval Japan. I'm glad that Ubisoft as a company is suffering that we get no more games out of this. And then a week later, oh, hang on, this isn't what we wanted. It's like, it feels like the same shit, to me at least. But speaking of that, people talking about buying out Ubisoft, main one possibly being a Tencent bid.
No. It's the Guillemot family and Tencent already have stakes in Ubisoft, and both of them are considering selling them to a bidder.
Oh shit! Sorry, got it backwards. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, I can't say it's shocking news given how everything that they've released has been. Maybe not. I wouldn't go so far as to say a flop, but certainly hasn't met expectations, which probably means bad news financially. Back at the old office.
Their stock price is currently at 13.10 euro.
Which has dropped 50% this year?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
It hit 10.22 euro on the 3rd of October.
Oh, it's bounced up. Do we buy the dip, boys?
Always buy the dip. Always buy the dip.
Yeah, but it's crashed hard.
Yeah. I know when they announced the 3-month extension to Shadows, that definitely slapped the price quite a bit as well. That's probably when it dipped, actually. They announced the delay probably around the same time.
That would have been the same time they also announced the sales for Star Wars.
Yeah, it's not going well. And I think the bit that is the worst, like, I don't think anyone goes to Ubisoft and goes, how can we just fuck over, like, bad gamer group today? But I would almost bet money, if I had any, that any kind of selling to a higher bidder or taking the company private or any other kind of exchange of power in the current Ubisoft structure would probably result in a massive amount of layoffs in an industry that's already hit by a massive amount of layoffs.
Ubisoft is one of the bigger companies as well. They're going to get hit worldwide with a lot of job cuts.
Yeah, and that should be shitty for everyone. I say should be as in, like, everyone should look at that and go, that is a shitty situation. Although I know there'll be some people that look at that and just smile with glee for some reason.
Yeah, they need to stop trying. I feel like they need to stop trying to do the Ubisoft super games with all these Assassin's Creeds and stuff, and like tone down the development of those, and then use their support studios that they usually have to like pump out a new small Rayman game or something.
Yeah, there was an interview. I can't remember who it was with, but it was. I mean, Ubisoft is such a big company that you could probably make up an interview and then claim it was from someone at Ubisoft, and there's probably a decent amount of overlap that you get people believing that it was true or not, but on the assumption that it was from people at Ubisoft that were being interviewed, a few people have talked about how the company culture at the moment is favoring a bottom-heavy group and probably from a cost point, promoting people internally to get into positions where they don't really have the experience or knowledge that they should for the decisions that they're making. And then that's flowing into why some of the games just aren't either polished as well, or the mechanics just aren't as like crisp and other bits and pieces.
I believe a lot of promotions at Ubisoft are also nepotism promotions.
And if that's the case, that's also shitty. That's bad. But yeah, it seems to be a bit of a disaster of their own making. But it also seems like they should have all the tools they need to get themselves out of the disaster if they can realize what's happening. I guess
just they'd have to reshape the entire company from top to bottom.
And if it's all driven off nepotism, maybe that isn't a terrible thing. But yeah, for me, the worst part of all this is that something bad happens, and it's all the people that have been otherwise powerless in what's been happening that'll be the first ones to get smacked with whatever the consequences are, and that's shitty.
Yeah, no, a lot of in all of these cases, it's all the grants workers that get laid off, so that the higher ups can keep their money flow.
Yeah. Anyway, it's probably spent long enough on the Ubisoft corner. We'll have to wait and see if any of it eventuates.
Yeah, and speaking of money flow, the Ryujinx developers are getting a big cash handout right now.
Yeah.
At least that's the rumor going on with them. But the Ryujinx developers had to come out and announce, hey, we're not doing it. We're not developing the emulator anymore, and we're taking it down. Like, we're taking down the GitHub page and the main website. Because Nintendo got in contact with us, and that's a big company to get in contact with you over your emulator for their most recent console.
And they did say that they
the only message that Nintendo sent was their IP address.
Look, the important thing to know here is that according to the people themselves, Ryujinx, I don't know how to pronounce it, it's only even written. They were contacted by
Take a third one at it. Don't worry, you got it on third one. Trust me.
No, I'm not. They were contacted by Nintendo and made an
coward.
And there was Nintendo offered them something so they would agree to stop working on the project.
It could be as much as a buyout. Like, we'll give you money if you stop. It could be but it could also be as serious as, hey, stop this now or we're taking you to court.
Or it could be as serious as, like, right, how about we offer you a tactical nuke if you keep building it? And knowing how Nintendo
is... The court is just a legal way to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But like, knowing what Nintendo has done in the past, very, very strange that they kind of made them an offer. And Nintendo didn't... Does Nintendo make things public with this kind of stuff? I can't remember what they did with the other one.
No, they just cease and desist them normally.
Yeah, they don't talk about the things themselves. It's just like people report on it when they happen in court.
Yeah.
But then why didn't I don't know. There's something going on here. Like, they didn't publish a cease and desist, and I didn't see why they wouldn't publish the cease and desist. Like, it's as in like the Ryujinx one. Usually was.
I don't think they need to. I think they just need to send the cease and desist letter to Ryujinx, and then it's up to Ryujinx if they want to publish that letter or not.
That's what I meant. I mean, like, why didn't Ryujinx like publish it or say something? And they're very, very tricky with their wording.
Well, no, it's because one of the Ryujinx developers signed up for Nintendo Switch Online 2 years ago, and part of the terms and conditions is that if they ever got done for a cease and desist from Nintendo for creating an emulator by the name of Ryujinx, they wouldn't be able to publish it. It was like fine print down in like clause 35 or so, but yeah, unfortunately, that your hands are tied. What are you going to do?
Always read the fine print in the terms and conditions.
Lest you end up like the human Sentai pad. I feel like there was a lack of laughter at the South Park reference there, but yeah, it is very sad. It's now gone the way of Yuzu, so no more emulation. And so naturally, the community then goes, well, hey, Nintendo, is there a way that we can I guess Switch emulator is slightly different, but just the crackdown on emulation in general. Like, hey, is there any other way that we can, continue prolonging the memory of these old games? And Nintendo's like, hey, how would you like to pay an online subscription every month? And the community went, no.
Nintendo's stance on playing their old games is either using their online services or buying secondhand.
Fucking crazy.
Like
Anyway.
they straight up and just go, yeah, try to find our games in garage sales if you can't find them any other legal way.
So dumb. Absolute state of play from Sony. What are we wanting to hit from here? I will open the war by saying, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 5 Pro. I have a PlayStation 5. It serves its purpose, but between the retro console looking kind of nice and now these Chroma consoles,
those Chroma consoles are just skins that you can buy. But they won't work on the original PS5. They're only for PS5 Slim and PS5 Pro.
Exactly. They're looking kind of schnice.
They are, and I'd steer that conversation to go, maybe not a Pro, maybe a PlayStation Slim if your PS5 dies.
True.
Pretty
luckily,
weird.
Hasn't died yet.
I said if it dies, like if you need a replacement PS5, don't go for the Pro because it's too expensive. Just get the Slim, since it's already a PS5.
Weird tech thing, which I know normally we do this at the start of the app rather than the end, but I have a particular screen that I use at my setup, right? I've got like a nice new quote unquote screen that I've had for like 2 years now, 2.5, maybe even 3 years. And it's like, fancy 4K display, a high refresh rate, looks really nice. Works totally fine with anything I've plugged into it. My PS5, if it's on for long enough, eventually stops outputting video to this screen. Works totally fine if I swap to another screen, just the one screen that I normally play PlayStation on just stops after the PlayStation's been on for like 90 minutes.
That's very odd.
It is. It's fucked,
That's
especially...
That's such a specific issue to have as well.
Yeah. And it's like, I genuinely don't know if it's the screen or the PS5, because the PS5 works fine with every other screen. The screen works fine with every other thing plugged into it. Shit, maybe it's the cable. No, I think I tried a different... Anyway, fucking weird. If it is the PS5, I'll be getting a Slim. That's where I wanted to get to with that story. But yeah, bloody annoying, I tell you. Any other big announcements we want to see?
Oh, was your only thing the skins?
Well, I wanted to open with the skins. I mean, I'm sure there's other stuff, but I want to give everyone else a chance to jump in.
I've got nothing.
If we're going to take turns like this, then Keanu Reeves being a DLC for Shadow Generations is very funny.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say about that. It's just they brought in the movie version and they actually got Keanu Reeves to voice the lines. I'm surprised they got him.
Yeah. He's also been just doing like interesting stuff recently. Like he was doing like a race, like a proper like motorsport race like a week ago or something.
He's just doing anything and everything these days.
Yeah, and you know what? As he should, as he has the right to.
Going back to lawsuits as well, Palworld is coming to PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
It's out everywhere now, but when this absolute state of play happened, in Japan, it was like, hey, we're not releasing Palworld in Japan just yet. Going to be a little bit of a delay on that one, but it's come out over there now.
No idea what could be causing the delay. Like, really anyone's guess.
Anyone's guess. Stellar Blade is getting a Nier Automata crossover DLC in the world of this is a DLC that makes the most sense for crossover DLCs because
It's the biggest fucking Kuma DLC I've ever fucking heard of.
Stellar Blade was basically ripping it off Nier Automata. I'm very happy that the Legacy of Kain remaster is happening. That's been rumored for a long time. Just glad that's finally coming out. And Ghost of Yotei looks good.
True.
Yes, Ghost of Yotei does look fucking sick.
I still need to play Ghost of Tsushima. I will get through that before Ghost of Yotei comes out. Like, I'm going to have to do it a fair few months beforehand, so I'm not, like, open world burnt out by the time Yotei comes out. But very, very excited for that one. And also very excited that they opened up by going, hey, Astrobot DLC is coming soon. It's speedrun levels and more challenge levels for the sickos. And that's me. I'm sickos that love these challenge levels.
Saif, you're a sicko, aren't you?
Yes, I am the sicko that loves these challenge levels that make the game harder. They advertise it by showing off that the Helldivers bots and Stellar Blade bot are going to be in the DLC as well.
Hmm.
And I think that's everything I want to cover besides, banging my head against the table over the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster that looks worse than the PS4 game.
And they did do a bit more Monster Hunter Wilds stuff, but there's quite a bit of Monster Hunter Wilds news, reveals, showcases, whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah,
not
the
specifically
big thing-
related to Absolute State of Play.
Yeah, the big thing for the Absolute State of Play was that they went, hey, it's coming out February 28th.
And if you pre-order it in Japan, it comes with a bike.
I thought it was a chance to win a bike.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Oh, they also showed off the cover monster, which is being it's called the White Wraith in here. They officially revealed the name. I've forgotten it, but it's a dragon with Belmont whips, and that looks sick.
Okay, okay, that sounds pretty cool. I'll give you that.
Yeah, go on, Steve.
Yeah, no, I can't. I can't.
I'll ask a question.
No. Nah. I have no questions.
All right,
I'm
with
so
all that
fucking
said,
excited.
Patrick, take us through the Monster Hunter spectacle.
Okay. So, bunch of stuff. Honestly, it's quite a bit to get through. Number one, it's getting a Fender guitar in 2025. I don't really know why. It's just like fucking
That's
why not?
It's so cool, but I'm so upset that in Japan they have like a limited edition one that comes with like a guitar case that's like properly designed to fit like the Monster Hunter aesthetic.
Yeah.
But then the Western one is just like, no, it's just a black guitar case. There's nothing special about it.
I guess I'm learning to play guitar now. I don't really know what's going on. So that's point one. That's just funny. Point two, we have official PC specs, and it's a bit soul crushing for people that don't have the newest builds, specifically new GPUs.
Yeah, I hope you built your PC in the last year.
Yeah. It is recommending at least 1080p at native and 60 FPS on a 2070 Super or an RTX 4060.
Sorry, that's 60 FPS with frame generation. It's targeting 30, and then it'll double the frame rate with fake frames.
True. Yeah. Yeah. Shit's a bit crazy, but does look good though. So, yay.
I think the specs might be a little off because of what we'll get into with the gameplay showcase, though. Which I guess I'll just quickly hit that point now.
Sure.
They did a gameplay showcase at Tokyo Game Show, and they said, "Hey, this is a 60 FPS version of the game," and it looks nice running at 60 FPS. And then they also said, "Yeah, so this is just running on a base PS5." So if they're managing to get like 60 FPS running okay on a base PS5, I imagine the PC version might be a bit better than what these spec sheets say. At least I hope so.
Yeah. One can hope. No, it's amazing looking at the like Wilds like gameplay and how it just feels like World 2, which is like we all sort of knew that's sort of what it was going for because it's the same team that did World, but just the difference of this versus Rise, where it was like a Switch first, didn't look bad, but definitely didn't look on the same graphical level as World did.
World immersed you in its world, and that's what Wild is doing here, while Rise was like, hey, look at all this crazy gameplay shit you can do.
Yeah.
Still gonna play Rise.
Man, I am all about this return to form.
Yeah, no, going it back into full immersion is fantastic. And a little bit of a hot topic for the immersion part. All of the biomes are connected to each other in this game. So it's just one big world where you can walk from area to area now.
See, they did a version of that with the Guiding Lands in Monster Hunter World. And
yeah, but the Guiding Lands was like, it wasn't as ambitious as this is.
True. Yeah. I can see either side of that, to be honest. Like, from every Monster Hunter game I've ever played, there are biomes I really like and biomes that maybe I don't hate, but there are definitely biomes that have their own challenges with say, the monster that you're fighting, or it's just not as aesthetically pleasing to me, that having them all interconnected could be either very good or very bad for those reasons.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to matter too much in the long run in like biome to biome type sort of sense. I find it really funny, like actually watching the gameplay. It's like, hey, we're starting in the desert area we've shown all the time, and then oh look, we're going through this like PS3, PS4 era loading hallway. We're running through a hallway, and suddenly we're in the rainforest.
Yeah.
It's very funny to see it to kind of go like that. It seems like it'll just be like, yeah, between every biome is just going to be kind of like a hallway you walk through where you get to the next one. The thing that's more upsetting for me is that what's going to happen with the gathering hubs. I imagine they're not going to be in this game when gathering hubs feel like such a big part of the identity of Monster Hunter.
I can see that one going either way, because I imagine there's I don't know if there's extra detail that they've revealed about this already. Maybe you can correct me on this, because I've been a little bit lax with my hunger for Wilds knowledge. But with even World, right, which is now however many years old, when you do a quest and you finish that quest, you can choose to go back to the Gathering Hub or continue in like explore mode or start a new quest like straight from where that one finishes. And it seems like they're trying to do the same thing in terms of like, yes, there is like a town, but you don't ever have to return to the town. You can just go quest to quest out like in the area itself. I suspect there will be a certain number of people that will probably just enjoy going back to the hub after quests anyway, that I don't think it will be as dead. I think it'll change if you're matchmaking with randos online, but in terms of the you and the boys fucking around in the Gathering Hub before each quest, I suspect will still be in full force.
You know, I need to force everyone else to wait for me to pet the Pookie.
Exactly.
I also vividly remember, like, when I first played World on PC,
just
like...
Wind that one back a quick sec. What are you patting?
The Pookie? Oh, no, not Pookie. The Poogie.
Yeah,
I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm having a stroke.
Pookie is the spitty lizard. But
yes.
The Poogie is the little pig in the village.
Yes.
But yeah, like when World first came out on PC, we just spent like half an hour seeing they're doing arm wrestling.
There was also this for me would be the bigger loss, is that if they didn't spend as much time in the hub because they didn't think as many people would use it, because if you just exist in the hub in World, there are so many little details that they never draw attention to, but are amazing, that are just in the game as part of the immersion. It's stuff like you in a particular hub, because I forget whether it's the Iceborne one or not, but there'll be cats like preparing food and things just around the kitchen area. But if you look at what each one does, it's on a rotation that actually makes sense in context of the food that they're making. Like one of them will like get ingredients delivered to them from like another feline, and like it's like an entire like processing factory. Which, does it have any impact on the game? Absolutely not. But is it something that you just happen to notice in between quests because you're sitting there waiting for your friend to pat the Poogie for the 17th time? Yeah, and then you notice it and then you track what's happening, and it's just a really cool like hidden touch that they have in the hub. And I expect there'd be a few things like that because it's the same team. But my concern is that if there's less of a focus on the hub, there'll be less of a focus on that sort of community and people just existing. And so you'll lose some of that kind of interaction.
So I did a quick Google search. Apparently they did confirm there's going to be Gathering Hub. They're just not ready to show it off yet.
Yeah, there would have to be Gathering Hub. Like, I refuse to believe that they'd make a Monster Hunter game without the Gathering Hub. It's just whether they put as much emphasis on the role of the Gathering Hub in this compared to other games or previous games.
Yeah, no. And for your point of like all of those little intricate details, I think though the village parts that they've shown off are just going to showcase those sort of like little elements. Like all of these gameplay demonstrations start off inside like this little village area, right next to the desert, and there seems to be a lot going on there. Like they've got the armory, they've got like the food stores, and it does seem like there's quite a lot of NPCs just kind of doing their own little things, making sense of that village. That just kind of adds to the immersion of the world.
Like that, like, sure, and that's fine. But in my head, this is the nice to have wishful thinking thing. It would still be awesome if it had enough time and space to be its own thing of like the running around the village, running around the hub village. I don't know what you'd call it in World before Iceborne came out was
Hubbage.
amazing because Hubbage. Thank you, Steve. Was amazing because it was super vertical and there were all these little like weird like viewpoints that you could just see everything happening and stuff. And that was cool because it was in its own space that it was this like proper settlement. And what I've seen, you're right, there is like a kind of settlement-y, caravan-y type feel going on near like the desert because that's one that we've seen a lot of. And that's cool. And there's probably a ton of little intricate details and stuff in there. But I don't know, maybe it's like a classic rose-tinted glasses thing, but a lot of time is spent in the hubs, preparing for hunts, running spreadsheets, doing dumb nerd shit that makes Monster Hunter amazing. That the place where I'm doing that, I want it to feel important. And if it's a busy but otherwise kind of barren settlement next to a biome, I don't know if I'm going to get that feeling.
Yeah, no, I completely get that too. Like, the villagers feel like this is an area of the world that has been turned into a civilization, while this is just like, yeah, no, this is just like an area where things stock up while we're on a trip through the world. Like this untamed wilds area.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, the game doesn't come out for another 4 months. It's got...
You got time.
Suddenly just thinking of a flashback to Shadows of just like, yeah, no, they can just... 4 months is enough time. Yeah, I'm sure it's in a very different state to Shadows. But yeah, no, I'm sure we're going to see more and more as we build up hype for it. I'm already super hyped. Once I have money, will be pre-ordering it off the bat. I don't care what Steven says. I'm ready to be hurt again. God, I wish I had a chance to win the bike and the guitar, though.
Also, going back to the merchandise for a second before we round out the Monster Hunter part, because it wasn't in this guitar article for some reason. They also revealed the cross-promotion between Monster Hunter and Transformers that they're going to do, like what figure it is. And they showed a Rathalos figure flying through the skies, and then it transformed into what looks like Optimus Prime. And so I, like, internally in my head, I yelled out, oh my god, it's Rathalos Prime. And then as the trailer continued, like 2 seconds later, it became a black screen with the words Rathalos Prime plastered all over it. I'm like, one, fantastic it was that name specifically, I love it. And two, that figure looks awesome. And it also confirms that Optimus Prime is a Charge Blade user.
I mean, we sort of knew that from how he uses his sword and shield in one of the films. I forget which one.
I thought most people would have just assumed sword and shield rather than Charge Blade.
Actually, being super pedantic, the shield on Charge Blade has always been much bigger than the shield on the sword and shield, so I knew it would be a Charge Blade.
Well, good for you.
Seriously, some of the shields on the sword and shield sets are like that. That's not going to block shit. Like, actually, it's from Generations Ultimate, but one of them, it's basically like a knife, and the shield is just a bracer. So
Jesus Christ, $140 on eBay.
For which?
For the Rathalos Prime figure.
That's so fucking much. Holy shit.
Awkward. Speaking of merch,
kinda worth?
also... What?
I said kinda worth?
Maybe.
No.
Other thing that we're going to touch on for the merch front, they're doing a cross collab with Digimon, releasing two. I'm not a Digimon person. I don't know what to call them. Tamagotchis.
Digivices.
So they're basically Tamagotchis.
Yeah.
One in the color scheme of everyone says Rathalos, but the color scheme makes me think pink Raytheon. I don't know why. It must just be the lighting. And,
that's getting too specific for what they do for crossovers.
And a Zenoga, which just both of them just look sick. How many are we buying?
Both.
You actually buying both?
Two of each, so that I can have one to use and one boxed.
Yeah. Insane.
Gotta think of that resale value in 20 years.
True. when the only sustenance you can get is from the Tamagotchi Digivice because all the food ran out. And the other news, to be honest, I don't really can't really see why it's newsworthy, but I guess it's a cool confirmation. Kongalala is back for Monster Hunter Wilds, which I've played Generations Ultimate more recently, so I guess I've just fought Kongalala more recently than most people. He's a piece of shit. Real
He also
OGs,
throws shit at you.
he does. Real OGs will ask, is Emerald Kongalala making a return? My guess is that he will not, but it would still be interesting. I'm not going to elaborate on that further. We are good to move on.
Yeah, yes, we are.
Are we?
Cool. Yes, we are.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is your time to shine.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We've been talking for so long.
Wake up, it's
I thought-
Xbox time.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, okay.
There is no news from Xbox.
Well, like there was everybody who listens to the podcast should be well aware that we all went live to do this on the spur of the moment.
Everyone watched. Everyone made fun of Steven. That was in my chat.
Didn't like that.
I was one of them. I was in the chat making fun of Stephen.
You were chat and live. You can't be both.
Pat was working double duty. He was voice making fun of Steven and text making fun of Steven.
Anyway, there was really nothing in this. I think I said like 2 weeks ago that I was excited for it, and then Seth, you were like, "Why?" And now that I've seen it, I don't really care. Like it's
It was a bunch of ports and updates.
Japanese Indiana Jones. Yeah, that's okay. Overwatch and My Hero Academia collaboration, fundamentally insane. The StarCraft remastered and StarCraft 2 coming to Game Pass as well. What it is.
A My Hero crossover with Overwatch.
I don't want to talk about it. Fundamentally
I don't know,
insane. Why is
I still
Midoriya
stand-
a Tracer? What were they thinking?
I still stand by that. I think All Might Reinhardt looks pretty sick.
It does. That's the only good thing they did. Everything else is psychopathic. That's right. They announced that they did a Bleach Rebirth of Souls kind of release window early 2025. They also did a bit more of a 3-4 minute trailer, and it was fucking sick. We're so fucking back.
Yeah, and they revealed characters that are after the Soul Society arc.
Yeah, which
is it the
always
Fullbringers arc, or is Fullbringers a filler anime arc?
No, Fullbringers is real, but it's a filler manga arc. It's fucking ridiculous. That shouldn't exist. You could take that out. No one cares. It's just so Ichigo can get his powers back. It's the Waco Mundo arc. That's where Ulquiorra and Grimjaw.
That's the one. It's the one with the Mexican words in it.
Spanish.
Is it Spanish? I thought it was Mexican.
What do Mexicans speak?
Or, don't they have their own form of Spanish?
It'd be like a dialect at best. It's very much Spanish.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind
get
then.
on the-
I'm
get
showing
on
how
the channel,
close-minded I am about other countries.
man.
All right, we're just going to clip that.
Click. Yep. Finally, something against F. They also announced that
Only
the
took
Final Fantasy
221 episodes.
Yeah, finally, we fucking 221. He says.
Sorry, 121. I can't
yeah.
count. That's the other thing you had against me.
Click. They also announced the Final Fantasy Pixel remaster. So that's Final Fantasies 1 to 6 are coming to Game Pass. I'm kind of excited about this.
No, you're lying. They announced that they're just coming to Xbox and Windows, but it's specifically not on Game Pass, and that upset you greatly.
Sorry, I blocked that from my mind. The trauma was too much.
They announced at the same time that they were bringing 2 Trails games to
that's what it was. That's what it was. Yeah.
No, not Trails. Legend of games.
The
Legend of
Mana
Mana and Legend
series,
of Trails. And both
Yeah.
of those are coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, they are also some more details on Metal Gear Solid Delta. Fucking fantastic. Cannot wait for that game. Looks amazing. They did a bit more of Metaphor ReFantasio, which that game's come out now. So game of the generation. That's pretty much the only really thing that I care about. Katamari Damacy Rerolled. That's coming to Game Pass. That's out. Downloaded it.
They showed a really good game called Tanuki Pond Summer, which is just like a Tanuki delivery service game that I thought looked adorable.
Raccoon dog. I don't know why I said that. Yeah, that looked fine. Whatever, I don't care. Not a Steven game. But yeah,
It's what's his face from Animal Crossing demanding tax.
Tom Nook, yeah.
Tom Nook
Tanuki. Yeah, that was kind of it. It was kind of like a nothing. Like maybe this is just because I always have my Pokemon. Well, I want a Pokemon Direct. There's rumors that's happening next week, but whatever. I think I just had my expectations high for this. I think this Tokyo Game Show is very much like an in-between type of thing. Like it's after Summer Games Fest, but it's before the Game Awards. It kind of feels like it's
directly after Gamescom. Like it's a month later, so Tokyo Game Show hasn't been super important for a long time.
Even like Gamescom was pretty average this year as well. I found. Sorry, like that. But that's it. That's anything you guys like really enjoyed and want to talk about?
No, you kind of covered them all.
Yeah, I just kind of scrolled through the article. Like it was average. Like I'm very excited about the Bleach game, but we're so fucking back.
Did we hit the Asian mythology expansion?
I didn't say anything.
That's, I don't know, kind of notable.
Maybe for you.
Maybe not enough that I actually play it, but just cool that, RTS is still getting some love because they seem to be quite rare now.
Reckon I should play that on console with a controller?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Go online so they make fun of you for it.
Who in the lobby's playing with a controller?
Oh, I am. Blood kicked. Insane.
Click. Yeah.
In fucking insane. I think I do that all the time. I don't play online anymore.
Wonder why.
But
cool.
yeah.
Well, if that's everything from Tokyo Game Show, we've got one final piece of news, which is that Halo is getting an Unreal update. The update is that it's going to Unreal.
That was smooth.
Slipstream engine. Thank you.
Not your best.
Almost as smooth as the graphics on Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, right. Which is, I find this is very interesting as well because from my understanding of it.
Wait, before Steven gets all optimistic and talks about how great this is, can I give my extremely pessimistic viewpoints of this?
This is the fourth or fifth time that someone has talked about how they're going to go back to the roots of the original trilogy and figure out what made the original trilogy great, even though it seems like no matter what they try, it's just never going to capture the nostalgia of the perfect time and place that was the original Halo trilogy, no matter how many times they keep trying to remaster it or redo it in any kind of way. It's just continually fumble after fumble because for some reason they just have to mismanage what's possibly one of the best IP that Xbox has ever produced. Something like that.
We just need one more remaster.
That's a very good summary, but no, mine was specifically about the move to the different game engine.
Oh yeah, no, go on.
Okay, so my idea of why they're doing this isn't because look how great it's going to be when we move over to Unreal Engine 5. It's going to make the game so much better. I think this is being done because the Slipspace engine is a proprietary engine for Halo specifically, and Xbox and Xbox Studios, because they're under Microsoft, they don't really hire people. They have contractors come in for 18 months before they let go, and then they're not allowed to be back in those studios for like 6 months, I think it is, before they're allowed to be back. So a good chunk of their time in that 18 months is going to be training people how to use Slipspace engine, and then when they leave, when people leave, they have to bring in new people and then train them on the engine, and that just becomes a time sink that's not worth it anymore. So they're just moving to Unreal Engine 5 to go, yeah, no, we don't have to train people anymore. We're just doing an engine that's like pretty commonly known at this point.
Oh, but it's kind of similar to
it has nothing to do with it has nothing to do with changing the engine to increase the quality of the game. It's just changing the engine so that they don't have to waste time training people on how to use their engine.
They're going to say they don't have to waste money paying people to like actually get good at the Slipspace engine.
Same difference.
Yeah, my tinfoil hat theory is like, because when the Slipspace engine was like developed, I think it's like Halo 3 or something, like they were very fucking proud of it, and it was pretty good at the time, and it still is pretty good. But I think
Bethesda is still very proud of their engine they made for Oblivion.
They shouldn't be, not anymore. Like it was good at the time. They should stop using it. It's time to make a new one.
This is me speaking directly to Todd Howard. Stop.
Not even gum and tape anymore. It's just being held together by string putty.
It's being held together by the machine spirit.
By Todd's hopes and dreams. But no, but my tinfoil hat theory is kind of similar to your, Seth, is that because they've lost a lot of like senior staff members and had a bit of churn, they no longer have the people that have the intricate knowledge of Slipspace. It's just like a lot of, I was taught this trick, but I don't understand it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and especially probably because Infinite didn't do too well, cuts left, right, and center. like they can rebrand as much as you want. 343 now becoming Halo Studios. Like it's kind of a bit grim. Like maybe it is kind of like, all right, like you're trying to get more focus, but at the same time that doesn't make sense because 343, it's 343 Guilty Spark, which is that fucking forerunner.
But I think I've seen
Halo 1.
Xbox people go, yeah, no, this is a good change because now it makes an actual Halo reference. Like they didn't get that 343 was already a Halo reference, and the shooters for this console.
Yeah, I think it's maybe because 343 is like because they would spun off because Bungie kind of got bought out by, well, Bungie left to be independent and didn't want to do Halo anymore, so they did Destiny, and they probably lost a lot of the old heads that way. So then 343 was spun up to do Halo, and then Halo 5, then Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, god tier compared to Halo 5, but it's still missing that Halo element. And while Infinite did capture it in some aspect, maybe they're just trying to change the bathwater, but you have to be very careful that you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And I don't really see.
Or the toaster.
Yeah, put the toaster in the bathwater with
the
baby.
toaster is the baby.
Oh, well, hang on. Let me have a shower.
A baby toaster? Does it toast babies?
No, it's the toaster the size of a baby.
Final one for both of you. But yeah, I'm finding very little reasons to be optimistic about this. Like, I don't see why they just couldn't have focused 343. It seems very strange, and I don't get it.
Yeah,
it just all feels like decisions made to get rid of like the funky smell that's associated with 343 and the Slip Space engine, and go, oh no, it's the Halo Studios making the next Halo, and we're using Unreal Engine 5. It's totally not connected to the last ones at all.
You can only put so much paint on a pig before you realize it's still a pig. So I legally have to be blinded by optimism from both my personality and my love of Xbox, but come on, this is a business person has made this decision, not like a game designer or a studio decision. This is a business decision, and it probably does speak to Microsoft's long terms. Like, hey, last fucking warning, you got a couple years to turn your games around and start selling those Xbox consoles before we want Spencer Dono to fucking commit seppuku in front of Jeff Keighley. Like, what are we doing here?
I'm still of the massive belief that Phil Spencer is just sitting there waiting to be fired so he gets his golden parachute.
I honestly think he is like fighting for dear life. And we didn't really speak about it, but in the Tokyo Game Show, like the way that he was kind of speaking about it, it just doesn't feel like he's got the same energy. And when at Gamescom he was doing interviews as well, and we kind of touched on it back then, it was like he was kind of just speaking about business. Like, Xbox is a business, we got to make money, we got to sell games, as opposed to we're just making fun games. Like,
there was one moment he got to speak about his favorite game, and his eyes lit up like he was actually a living human being that felt joy for a moment. And then he had to go back to normal business Phil Spencer and went back to his monotone robot voice.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And like, I can sit here sucking him off, giving him that Hawk tour for so long, but I'll be quite honest. I've said it many times. You promised
you stop by the end of the beginning of the episode.
No, I didn't. We've still got an extra half an hour, but like he hasn't. Like there has been no course correction for Xbox. Like Redfall was shit. Starfield was mid. The expansion for Starfield mid. It's bad.
Actually, shit. We should touch on that. Yeah, the expansion for Starfield came out and no one cared.
Well, no one cared because Starfield itself, no one cared about. People stopped caring about it because they found it was mid.
And then people from Bethesda came out and said, yeah, it's not for everyone, but we think we made it like something that's going to be really loved by a specific set of the community. And then everyone looked at it and went, this game sucks so bad, no one's there to make mods for it. The one thing that saves your game.
Yeah, like it's unfortunate. Like we'll have to see. Like they have to start turning around. Like they got Indiana Jones coming out, that should be good. Avowed, that could go either way. What else? All that comes to the top of my head, but there are things coming out, and maybe next year will be Xbox's year. I swear, I've been saying that for 4 fucking years. The second we get Final Fantasy,
4 years. It's been longer than that for Phil Spencer. He's been saying that every year.
I've been saying that for 4 years. Yeah.
I know, I'm saying yours doesn't compare to that. Like, Phil Spencer's been saying it every year since he took over.
Well, he had to be fair, he did take over when it was the Titanic. He's done all right. But I think, yeah, I've said it before, I'll say it again. PlayStation has run away with the ball and Nintendo's playing a different game. Like, Nintendo's in a league of its own. But, well.
Other thing worth touching on, speaking of things coming out that no one cares, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League Season 4 rolling around the corner.
How did that get fucking killed? Concord lasted 4 days, and everybody was mid on that game. Everybody knew Suicide Squad was going to be dog shit, and that's still pumping out. What's you know what?
Yeah,
Steam fucking.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
Why?
Because as part of how they sold Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, they promised 4 seasons of live service updates. And
yeah, they can't cancel it for a tax break.
Exactly. As shitty as that game has done, they can't pull it early because otherwise they'll be liable for all this other shit about lying to people for how much they've been able to do.
Never fucking stopped Concord just not having a game.
Concord didn't promise anything.
Yeah, Concord didn't promise shit.
So how many players do we reckon are playing?
Suicide Squad?
I'm looking it up. Yeah, Suicide Squad.
End of episode Steam charts.
Ooh, love
yeah,
this.
we're changing things up.
I'm going to guess 30.
30?
31. No, actual real guess is like 45.
What about 82 current players?
Holy shit.
186 is the 30-day average, and over the last 30 days, it's gained to 20 players.
That'd be from the update.
It would be from the update, yeah. Those poor people.
People actually came to come out and show up for Deadshot's daughter.
Insane. Holy shit. Okay, well, I think that's a perfect note to end the news on.
I'm sad.
Jesus Christ.
We'll get next
the
time.
Absolute state of gaming in 2024. Well, brings us to the end of the news, brings us to the end
Oh
of
shit,
the
sorry,
episode.
I forgot. We promised something last episode.
Did we?
Oh, the audience question.
We promised the audience question.
Fuck, alright, I guess we got to the audience question. What's the audience question?
I am pulling that up right now.
Good catch. I was just about to take us out. I completely forgot that we promised that.
So from Dan, hey Kings, been loving Ti
He's in fucking
this
Europe.
year.
Ti.
Loving Ti. Yeah. All right.
Sorry, no, Steven interrupted me and it threw me off my reading. Okay, from Dan. Hey Kings, been loving TI this year and wondering when, if you think esports, and wondering when / if you think esports will become mainstream. Dota at the Olympics when? FYI, Steven is wrong and should feel bad for not liking the world in Lost in Random. Gameplay did suck a bit though. Best, Dan.
All right, Dan.
I appreciate the sentiment of sending us a audience question just to call us out for our opinions.
Us.
This might blow Dan's mind, but as much as he's been enjoying TI this year, what if I told you
the fuck is TI?
The international. It just hit me then. The Dota internationals.
Yeah, it's the.
I googled TI and I got the fucking American rapper. What the fuck is the point?
I'm surprised you didn't get Titanium, the element. Anyway, so TI back in 2014, TI 4 or TI 5, they actually managed to get a slot on ESPN for doing the grand finals. I think it was TI 4, and the problem with the meta at that time was that the games were so shit that they were just death ball stomps in 20 minutes, and so I think it was Wings. It's really testing my memory because I'm not looking any of this up, but I'm pretty sure it was Wings that ended up 3-0ing the grand finals in 3 20-25 minute games, which for Dota is crazy short. Something has had to go horribly wrong if that's how quickly you're winning. And so it was mainstream to the point where it was on, mainline TV channels in the States. The problem was it was probably the worst TI to showcase because the meta was so boring. It was just whichever team ahead was the one that was going to win by 15 minutes. In terms of it coming back, at the Olympics is going to be a tough one. I reckon it'll be coming sooner than we think because there's definitely been murmurings about what was the one in Saudi Arabia that was some World Gamer Cup something.
World Esports or something.
Yeah, that was designed to be.
They do different games every couple of months.
That was designed to be kind of Olympics-y. I imagine we'll eventually get to a point where I think the difficulty with the Olympics is that it's going to have something be removed for something to be added. And I think it's going to be very difficult for it to be a game other than something like Minecraft or Fortnite, which Fortnite you can maybe do as some sort of tournament, but I just think it's like a sport is a sport that sort of has a governing body, but we don't really have a governing body for esports generally. We have governing bodies, which is just the company that makes various esports, like, Riot is the governing body for League of Legends and Valorant. I think it would take having a collective body outside of the company that makes it to kind of run some kind of tournament on top. Okay. As I'm saying this, I'm now thinking of the parallels with people running Smash tournaments that Nintendo fucking hates. So that has a shot at making it to the Olympics.
No, Nintendo would nuke that into the ground. But they'd rather nobody play that game than...
Meanwhile, they sit there supporting Splatoon and Mario Kart leagues. They also support their own Smash League, but that doesn't go anywhere as far as I know.
Yeah, I think...
They don't support the Pokemon tournaments, that's all the Pokemon Company, which is interesting, because those are getting bigger.
The Pokemon Company is part Nintendo.
True.
Yeah, but there's no Nintendo branding at those events. Well, actually, yeah, even yeah. Very little. I think it's because the Pokemon Company is such a stronghold in the merchandise industry that they're like, nope, if I see a Mario plushie, you're getting shot. Pikachu's only.
Pikachu's in chat. I think in terms of is it mainstream? I think it's mainstream now. I don't know if it's mainstream in the sense that we ever will see it in the Olympics, because there'll be a bunch of old farts that just hate the idea of it ever being anywhere near something as esteemed and grand and historical as the Olympics. But I think if you look at the cultural impact on how much, like just percentage-wise, the number of people playing video games, particularly on the younger generations, the amount of money in video games, despite what Ubisoft's share price will have you believe, is the highest it's ever been and encompasses all other forms of media put together, I'm pretty sure. Although I don't know how much of that's just shitty mobile monetization, so there could be something there. But I think it is mainstream. It's just everyone that listens to this, everyone that is around video games would see the impacts of it being mainstream. It's the people that either willingly have blinders on or are otherwise just part of a generation that didn't really grow up with games in the same way, that they don't have the same sort of cultural impact. Like, I guess we know that it's mainstream because Adam Sandler made the movie Pixels. That was the moment.
I'm going to shoot you.
Yeah, no, that's not a good reference, Pat. You know it. There's like video game references, and then there's like Counter-Strike, Dota 2, League of Legends. You know that, right?
Yeah, I think it is mainstream.
You sit there going on about the boomer cause are not going to let video games get mainstream, and then you go and quote the movie that is all about boomer movies, talking about how great the arcade days were, but not the arcade days of competitive Street Fighter, the arcade days of Donkey Kong and Pac-Man.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in a movie called Rampage, based on arcade movie.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson was in the movie called Doom, based on the video game series Doom.
Anyway, my thoughts are, it's already mainstream to most people that you talk to in the street. It's just, if your definition of mainstream is hitting something like the Olympics, where we consider it to be a historical event, or any other metric of, would we see some sort of TV event that rivals the, like, FIFA World Cup grand finals, where there's billions of people watching at the same time? I don't think we'll ever get to that, because I think the accessibility of games means that rather than a billion people watching one game, it'll be a billion people watching a billion games. But the impact, I think, will be the same, or greater, from video games.
Yeah, I'd argue against that, mostly because my idea of mainstream is more
that's
like...
fine, but you're wrong.
My idea is more like, like, the international and other events will happen, and, like, they get massive numbers on Twitch and so on, but they feel like events where you got to be in the know of gaming to appreciate and understand them, where my idea of mainstream is more like, I could go up to someone on the street and go, hey, what do you think of this this event happening for this game? And they'd kind of get an idea for it, or like, not even like this event or this game, but about this game, but more like, hey, how do you feel about like this game in general? And I don't think it'd be on that same level. It's like you could go up to someone and ask them, "Oh, hey, how do you feel about soccer?" sort of thing. Like you're not going to get like an everyday person on the street that could recognize these things. It's more contained to people that already are kind of keenly aware of the games they enjoy.
I think you get referential knowledge. I think most, like, this comes back to like the younger generation thing. I think most people with kids know what Fortnite is, for example.
Yeah, no, I think once like I think we're going to hit a point in like maybe 10, 15 years where we get to the points that I'm thinking of for mainstream, because like it'll be younger people that are more in tune with it. Like people our age and younger are like starting to fill out those surveys rather than people in their 50s.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah. But like I agree with your example of like you go up to someone and say, "What did you think of T.I.?" Yeah, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about? You mean the American rapper?" And we go, "No." But at the same time,
but then like I worded that poorly. I'm more like, "Hey, how do you feel about Dota 2?"
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like, "Yeah, I don't think we're at a point where like you could get a decent sample of people doing that, but maybe in like 15 years you could for some competitive games."
I wonder if you look at that now versus if you look at like I just wonder if you go to someone on the street today and say, "Hey, what do you feel about Fortnite?" versus you go to someone on the street in, when would you say the peak of World of Warcraft popularity was?
2003.
No, I'd say 2007, 2008.
Because I'm purely theory crafting.
That was around the time Mr. T was doing World of Warcraft ads on TV.
But no, but that's my point, is that World of Warcraft was also a cultural phenomenon because there wasn't really anything like it beforehand that kind of, I'm doing air quotes, broke into the mainstream, because like it was an anomaly, right? Like we meme on Fortnite now because Fortnite is massive, but World of Warcraft was massive because there was nothing before it that was anywhere close. That I wonder, yeah, like purely theoretically, the chances of a random person on the street in 2007 just knowing what World of Warcraft is, not having an opinion on it, but just like knowing the name. Probably America pilled, and you go to some random country and people will be like, "What the fuck's that?" So maybe different because most of the world's playing Fortnite now. But yeah, interesting.
Maybe, yeah.
Your thoughts, Steve?
Yes, I have many. But no, yeah, I think and it depends kind of what you're into, because like a lot of people, as you said, Pat, a lot of people that are sort of in the gaming scene know of that kind of stuff. But then like at the same time, I think because I'm in a lot of like the Pokemon scene, I know that scene's growing year on year, like to the point where like they're putting caps on the next 2 years. It's the amount of people that can attend the World Championships. Sorry, the amount of people that can like compete in the World Championships is just like insane to think about. Like 10 years ago, they were playing in shitty halls, and yeah, pretty much. And now it's like, all right, we've got too much. Everybody stay. Like you can watch online. Which is like, it's very interesting. It of course, it doesn't pull the numbers like TI does, but it's like it's getting close. And I think like the way that the way that Pokemon kind of works out, and with Scarlet and Violet being released as like a buggy mess, there are ways they could do to make it more theatric. Like in the World Tournament, the World Championship that just passed, like the World Championship match, they had this spectator mode that was specifically for this match. You can't access that spectator mode like in normal play, or even in normal tournament, they don't show this spectator mode. So, to bring it back to like in 20 years, I reckon it'll be a very different conversation. But to even think that like 20 years ago, if you said that like there was video game coverage being put on ESPN, everyone would have laughed at you and then bullied you, as they rightfully should have.
But in 20 years time, again since.
That's true, but like but at the same time, that's probably because like the TI's taken it up onto themselves. It's like, all right, like we'll do our own thing, and it makes more sense for them to be broadcasting on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook Live.
I also wonder on the other front, like the success of, I guess, like I'll give you the pessimistic and the optimistic take. Optimistic take. A bunch of people I know who know nothing about The Last of Us watched and really enjoyed The Last of Us, the TV series. Do you count that as cultural impact of video games? Because that's, at its source, video game. Pessimistic.
The amount of people the amount of people that watch that show and they were like, "Oh, like have you played the game, Steve? Is it any good?" And I'm like, "Yes, I played the video game. It's very good. Don't fucking talk to me."
Same conversations. But then pessimistic take. Everyone on the planet knows about Borderlands because of how shitty it was. And I suspect most people know that that's based on a video game because, again, how shitty it was. Do you count that as cultural impact?
Yes,
All
like
impact-
something
all impact's good
having
impact.
a negative impact is still a cultural impact.
No, but my point is when you think about, like, we were talking about the example of you ask someone what Fortnite is, because Fortnite's very clearly a video game. If you ask someone what the Borderlands film is, or just what Borderlands is in general, if most people say, isn't that the film, the fact that the film is based on the video game, does that add to or take away from the video game relevance of Borderlands? Because people's associations with Borderlands would probably be the movie, but you're probably looking at a subset of people that would think, ah, yes, the Borderlands movie, the thing based on the video game, versus just Borderlands movie, that shitty movie that came out a month ago, 2 months ago. I don't know. It's an interesting question.
Yeah, very all interesting questions.
I want to cap off by bringing up my own ESPN story since everyone else mentioned ESPN and now I'm feeling left out.
Who? Name one
don't have
person
to
that
do
mentioned
that.
ESPN.
You did.
And I
about the
piggybacked on
TI.
it. Yeah,
I'm not people.
and I pick his person. He's Pookie.
But yeah, back
Pookie
in
pookie,
2016,
my
Street Fighter also tried to get onto ESPN where they streamed the Street Fighter 5 finals from Evo on ESPN. And first off, yeah, a lot of the old people were like, what the fuck is this? Get this off my TV. Why is this on when I could be watching professional darts? And
Yo.
the second part, which is something that I just find extremely funny, is that Street Fighter 5's top 8 that year was very Japan dominated to the point there was only one American, and ESPN was like, okay, we've got a story here. Double down on this one guy and like make him the American hero of this tournament. And like we need to track him through the top 8 to make sure that he goes like he's going as far as possible. He's gonna pull it back for the country. He lost in the first round.
I was going to say, he loses round 1.
Yeah, he was on loser side and he lost. He was eliminated straight away. So that was rough to watch. Very funny though.
It's the old, I mean, even if you ask people what FIFA is, because FIFA, the game, is based on FIFA, the governing body. So
It's not FIFA anymore, man.
yeah,
Yeah, football.
well,
They've lost the license. Come on, man.
ask people.
No, there's
2
still
years
going
ago.
to be a FIFA game. They just need to find a developer for it.
Even
Yeah, they're not
like,
finding that.
peak lockdown, there was a massive spike in people that even just knew what Among Us was. I don't know. There's
Among
so
Us,
many, like,
everybody was playing it, but yeah.
yeah, but that's my point though. There's so many little like people know what Tamagotchi is. People know what Pokemon is. Like, there's so many things that creep into the mainstream. It's more where you define where the mainstream level is. And I think Seth's probably right in terms of if you put out a survey and it's mostly boomers with nothing better to do that can fill it out, that you just need 10, 15 years for it to be more of the younger generation coming through for that to kind of line up with what you think of as like a critical mass. But yeah, I stand by that. I think video games are, broadly speaking, mainstream already.
Video games are, esports no. Because the question was specifically about esports rather than video games.
Yeah, man,
cool.
we went too far off the track. Sorry, Dan.
Me fucking conflating this because it's 1 a.m. Wahoo.
Hey, man,
yeah.
you're the one that keeps yapping. Bro got a degree in yapology.
It's
Bro
true.
fluent in Japanese.
All I'm saying, Monster Hunter esports when.
I think
That
they
would be
tried that with
So
World.
shit. Holy shit.
I think what they did was they did like arena missions and tried to speedrun them, and that was how they handled who won those events.
I killed myself thinking about this.
Oh well. Thank you for the question, Dan. Hopefully me just randomly tangenting into video games in general rather than esports, because yeah, that completely defeats the fucking World of Warcraft, and I guess the Fortnite point still kind of stands because that's kind of treated as an esport with the number of tournaments that it has. Anyway, if you or someone that you know has a question, get in touch. We're on Facebook at Fast Travel Lounge. I was about to say Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, at Fast Travel Lounge, minus the L that Elon continually takes. Jesus Christ. fasttravellounge.bluesky.social, and good old mailbag, fasttravellounge@gmail.com. Yeah, this brings us to the end of episode 121. I've been Pat, I'm joined by Seth and Steve. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Goodbye.
I found Raffalo's Prime for $50 and I'm making very bad financial decisions.
Happy birthday, Penrith Panthers fans. 4 in a row, baby.